Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pylon Show. We are up to episode 98 right now. Hi, I'm Artosis, and these are three guests that you've seen before many times. What's up, guys? How's it going, FearDragon?
It's going well. Just finished up my day at work, so I'm gonna do this and enjoying talking about StarCraft and stuff.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, you
How's
dropped
it?
from the call.
Yeah, hold on. I'm coming back.
Also, I think
Sorry about that.
another language commentator just appeared on our stream.
Sorry, I've been
did.
trying to during the quarantine pick up Korean, so just.
Yeah.
Oh, my ever clicky mouse hand just clicked on one of my bookmarks, which was some stupid StarCraft video. Anyways, sorry about that. FearDragon, how are you doing?
I'm doing
Start
well,
the show.
Dan. I'm enjoying talking about StarCraft after a long day of work, and it's been a long week.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Zombie Grub, how are you doing?
Great, man. I just cast like 8 hours plus something like that, but there's some amazing games. And then I'm here having a drink, dancing with Spice Girls, ready to talk more about StarCraft.
Perfect. Maynard, you're a fan of Spice Girls, right?
I mean, definitely. I absolutely have and proudly will support the Spice Girls. As you can tell, by just
you
by
would
looking
never
at
go
them, I'm
chasing
definitely in a demographic.
waterfalls.
That's not Spice Girls, but
That's why
Is
you
it
wouldn't.
not?
That's why you wouldn't.
no.
Yeah, it's definitely
Wait,
not.
Chasing Waterfalls was actually
Don't
not
Go
Spice
Chasing
Girls.
Waterfalls isn't Spice Girls?
No, it's
No.
not.
Shit,
No.
I'm old even for an old person. Okay.
See, I don't really listen to there are a few groups from back then that I like that are my guilty pleasures, but there's also a thing where you should know your enemy. So when people come at you saying that their band is better because of XYZ, you just correct them, Anyway, I'm doing good. Just been on that stream of life trying to recover physically from some pretty brutal hours and having basically 2 weeks of double features where I've been streaming during my morning, which is normally when I stream, and then having a all-nighter of commentary with a production team and a co-caster and everything.
Wow.
Same deal as everyone else here, I think.
Yeah, well,
Fun fact:
not me, but
we've somehow managed to, even in an online format, screw over the Australians again. Make them have the work sleep schedules and they don't even have to travel, but we've still messed them up.
So
We're
true.
going to feel like we've been traveling. That's for sure.
Well, thank you guys all for joining me after such a long day. We'll try to not make this one of those 4-hour episodes. We'll try to keep it down at 3. But looking forward to this episode. I mean, we're just going to run through the sponsors real quick in a minute here, do This Week in StarCraft, then talk about the DreamHack Masters for the European and American portions of it. A lot of the others finished, and they kind of just have the winners that you would expect. And then we'll talk about the GSL Groups, which got picked last night. Very exciting right there. The really cool round of 16 coming up. And then just jump into the Patreon questions. And we'll try to answer the ones that we missed last week as well. All right. So first off, guys, if you want to support the Pylon Show, the best way to do it is through our Patreon. Patreon.com/The Pylon Show. And if you're a supporter at the $5 tier or higher, you can ask questions which get answered each and every week, and they are amazing. So check that out, patreon.com/The Pylon Show. We also have our Matcherino up. Go over and check out matcherino.com/The Pylon Show. And you can type in the code Sentient, because we missed those questions last week. Great code for this week. Go and type it in, check it out. You can get awesome things like a Pylon Show mug.
I have a classic phase 1
merch.
mug.
Look at you, yeah. Zombie Grub and FearDragon, I'm really disappointed that you don't have your mugs ready.
It's in my cupboard.
I gave mine to my sister. I bought one and then I gave it to my sister.
That is the best gift you can give. Guys, check out our Matcherino, matcherino.com/The Pylon Show, and type in that code Sentient. We also have thepylonshow.com, where you can get all of your Pylon Show needs, including the show notes, of which I'm going to take a look at now so that we can go ahead and talk about This Week in StarCraft. So check it out. Anywhere that you find the Pylon Show, you will see the show notes, and you can find out more about all these things that I'm going to run through real quick here. So let's jump down to page 3 to start. Some of the things coming up. DreamHack Masters, of course, ESL Cups, GSL, Copa Hyperion. Going down, DreamHack Masters Summer EU. Well, we're going to talk about that. That's the main thing. So we'll skip those two, the top two there, the EU and the NA, that just kind of show the brackets we'll be talking about in a moment here. But we also had the LATAM tournament. No big surprise to anyone. Special takes it down over Kelliger in the finals, with Cham getting third place. That's like every tournament ever in that region. So congrats to Special for that victory. We also have the Chinese tournament, and kind of an exciting one as well. Time ends up taking it, as I think people would generally expect, but definitely Cyan and Silky kind of gave him a bit of a hard time through that bracket. I don't know. Did any of you guys cast that one, or?
Yeah, I cast it with Zeph. Was one of the broadcasters doing last week. But yeah, the cool thing about a lot of the non-EU, non-NA sort of, I guess season finals, what we call it, the finals for that region. I mistakenly called it a qualifier because to me, everything that isn't the main event is a qualifier for that main event. But I got a little slap on the wrist. No, that's not the correct branding, Maynard. It's the region's finals, the season final. But yeah, the path, even though the person that you expected to win did win, Risky won Oceania, Time won China, Haas won Taiwan, it wasn't clean. It wasn't an easy run for them. It was definitely like more of a battle than you thought, even though the correct quote unquote person was out, when the dust settled. So it was very, very cool to see Cyan put up such a cool fight against Time, even knock him into the losers bracket. And same deal with Risky in the Oceania side. See the knock him down there after 3-1 victory, which is not expected. I'd expect Risky to beat the 9 times out of 10. In fact, the win rates showed that. And and Haas, I think, was probably the cleanest getting to his victory in the end there. But it's Haas. You wouldn't expect cleanliness from that fine gentleman.
Yeah, macro games, right?
He had some macro games. He actually, Artosis, you probably didn't see the games, but against Nice, more than once, he went Nexus first in a PvP and won.
Well, that is just as cheesy as a Cannon Rush, to be perfectly honest.
It was very, very it was very weird, and it caused Nice's brain fucking malfunction, dude. He's like, oh, I have to proxy robo this, right? And Haas is building shield batteries next to Nice's proxy robo, just killing it with a gateway unit. Anyway, cool series. I don't want to take up more time, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
No, that's great. Thank you so much for clearing that up. Very exciting to see those players get through, but as you said, they are kind of the ones that you expect. Although I could have seen Nice taking out Haas for sure there. I mean, he's actually ranked pretty damn high on the Korean server right now. All right, so moving forward from those DreamHack Masters, of course, we have the GSL coming up. We'll talk more about that again. We'll skip over that right now. Copa Hyperion. It's a new bi-weekly tournament for Latin America organized by Break the Wall Esports with OSC. It will alternate with Sentimiento Latino, Latin American citizens and residents only. It's going to have a $25 prize pool if you're interested. Check it out. All right, going on this week in StarCraft, we have the ESL Open Cups. We just kind of have a list for you there, and you can see the cup points. Just ridiculous. Hero Marine way in the lead, 50% more points than second place Clem, who has way more points than third place Cure. So pretty crazy to see these guys starting to run away with it. But check it out. You can play against pro gamers. It's fun. You can watch it as well. ESL Cup Korea. This past week, number 25, we had Armani take down Trap 3-0 in the finals with Kira and Solar hitting that top 4. On the ESL Cup EU, we had, I bet if you guys don't even look, you could guess who's in the finals of the EU Cup. Actually, you'd probably guess Hero Marine, to be fair, but Rainer versus Clem once again. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. Hero Marine did make the top 4 where he lost to Rainer, and then Showtime also in the top 4, losing to Clem. But the rivalry of Rainer versus Clem does continue forward. You can check that out. It looks like everyone on Earth casted that one. ESL Cup NA, we have Solar taking out Parting in the finals with Haas and M. Canning in the top 4. I hadn't seen this bracket yet. Look at that. M. Canning killing it. Oh, that's sick.
Always kill it?
He does. You're right. That was foolish of me. I can't believe that Solar luck boxed him 3-2 in that round of 4. Well, pretty sick right there. Maynard, you casted that one, huh?
I actually didn't.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
No, they lied.
I was like,
I haven't cast the last couple of weeks of the ESL NA. So 24 and 25 specifically have been the ones that I've been missing.
All right. Well, that's kind of exciting though. M. Canning 2-3 against 7K Korean Zerg. That's exciting.
That's
Very
one of my
cool.
favorite things about M Canning is that he punches really far above his weight, but then sometimes people punch him down from way below his weight.
Yeah. That's one of the brutal things about StarCraft. You can beat really good players, but you can lose to really terrible players as well. Definitely something we have all experienced. All right, the ESL Open Cups AU. We had Demi take it down over Azure in the finals with Probe and Dark Void in the top 4. We also have Olimo League this week. We had Innovation over Sue 3-2.
That was last week.
Oh, that was last week. So this week was Sue over Dream.
This week was
that was
Sue over...
monthly. Yeah.
So the monthly final was pretty cool. And it was that was a good time for sure. But yeah, the last week was what you just said. The Sue Dream.
All right, I'm seeing it now. All right, well, congrats to Sue. A couple finals right there. Innovation and Dream as well. We also had OSC King of the Hill Weekly. Kelger had a good run, winning both weeks at 29 and 30. Chum and Christianer had strong runs, as did Mana, Max Pax, and Goblin. You can check that out over on Creighton Olsen's stream. The Sea Duckling Open, we had Armin 3-1 over Magnath. All right, congrats. This is something you can check out over on the Cranky Duckling stream, as are the next few, such as the Grand Platypus Open, where we had Meal Maker 3-1 over Gogo Joey, with Pez making it up into that 3rd place spot. With La Espira Desafiantes. All right. Terran won 3-2 over the Zerg Lord at the end of the day. Dastan and Sinner rounding out your top 4. So have the NA Team League Rumble 2. And it looks like Alpha X 4-0 over Icebound Esports. You can check that out over on Creighton's channel. We also have the NA Apprentice Cup 2020 with Patty Mac 3-0 over Pili Pili in the finals. Patty Mac really coming up lately, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
I've been seeing his name pop up all over the place.
Even just Silky too afraid to play him. Forfeited.
Yeah, look at that. Damn. Well, he was too busy, living his double life as a Chinese pro and an American pro.
Yeah, that definitely came up a lot during the casts, or I had to be in chat going, guys, a different human being.
He's actually so sad about it that he's legitimately been talking like, guys, should I just name change? Like,
yes, he should.
I'm so tired of this, because I remember there was on the day that Silky qualified through the Chinese qualifiers, the Chinese Silky had done that. NA Silky had literally just lost an event, and he was getting tweets from people being like, congratulations on qualifying. He's like, really right now? Really? I just lost an event.
Oof.
It's extra brutal that they play the same race and that they're both like up and coming right now. He should change his ID.
They really both play differently, but yes.
Yeah.
Silky on the China side, I can. Silky on the China side, I can especially attest to being extremely creative and weird.
I'm gonna set up a best of 31, and the loser has to change their name. I feel like that's a reasonable solution.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I would love to see you get them to agree to that.
Yeah, I think that'll be the hardest part of this tournament.
I think I can get American Sulky to agree to it. I don't know.
Yeah,
if I can
that's
well,
for sure.
Obviously.
I would love to see you even contact the Chinese Silky. That's
yeah.
That scene is really kind of disjointed.
Dan, are you just assuming I don't know Chinese?
I am going to go ahead and assume that.
I mean, there's multiple languages.
I said Mandarin.
Oh, yeah, I just said Chinese.
Chinese isn't a language. Mandarin and Cantonese are there.
Look, I speak so many languages. I speak Chinese, I speak Indian, I speak American. Like, you don't know.
You speak American, nice.
I speak American.
Yeah.
Of all those things you guys focused on speaking American, that's the correctest thing he said.
That's because they're also ignorant Americans, even Maynard.
It's because we speak American too, so that's where we're interested. All right, well, congrats to Patty Mac. Moving forward, NA Apprentice Season 3. JFA, Patty Mac, Skylar, and Asuna advanced. We have, it looks like, 8 players left over right there. You can check that out over, I think, on Sugar's stream. We also had the NA Contender Season 3. Got Qual defeated Wonder in a hard-fought 4-3 finals. Check that out over on Cranky Ducklings. We have the Gold Series Team Championship 2020 Spring. Innovation 4-1 over Dark in the finals with patience and time hitting that top 4. Congrats to Innovation for yet another victory. You know, I've read about this. Someone made like a nice thread on Team Liquid about the nicknames of some of the Korean players, and they nickname Innovation Lu Bu, which is like one of those ancient Chinese generals from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And I've been
Dynasty
reading
Warriors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's like a video game about it, right? I've been reading the actual books. I'm like
Yeah.
almost done the 3rd book. And Lu Bu, I mean, spoiler alert, these books are thousands of years old, but like Lu Bu was like the most arrogant, strongest general, but eventually he did get killed by another one. So it's a good nickname for him, I think. Kind of has that air about him. We also have the Gold Series Team Championship 2020 Spring. Playoffs started on June 25th. Yeah.
I gotta say, like, you know, Dan, I have a question for you. Do you know why so many of the Koreans are so good at defensive play?
Oh, God.
Because they all seem
Here
to
it
cross
comes.
their arms defensively all the time. Defensive posture.
Whoa.
Coincidence?
Damn.
I saw this coming over the hill. I even heard the footsteps over the hill before I saw his silhouette in the distance.
I had no idea where he was going with that.
Maynard saw this
Nothing
coming
much
so
on
far
the
ahead
I
that
knew
he
it was a
actually muted
pun.
me for a few minutes.
You've been muted since the beginning. You're just pretending you're not here.
If this was my show and I had power, I would have lined up my sights for you to come over that hill with that pun and just picked you off before you even got over there.
We need to plug in the thing that shocks him for the Pylon show as well.
Yeah,
I actually thought about that. I thought about that. You know what, Dan? I'm taking offers. If I get paid a little bit more, I'll turn it on for you for whenever you get a donation.
Damn. We can definitely boost that up. No problem.
Fartosis, if you change your name to Wet Fartosis, we'll do it.
Oh, God.
We already have a different. We have a
worst
different
scam I've ever seen.
So what do you mean?
You spend a lot of money for this. I feel like
I
this is
know.
really to your benefit.
Dan,
We're up
I've
to almost
literally already
100
gifted the
subs.
subs. I've already gifted the subs.
That was foolish of you, my friend.
Yeah, that was dumb, dude.
Oh, all right. Moving forward.
I guess.
We have the Four Corners Brawl. Kelliger defeated Art 4-0, casted by Creighton. Check it out there. Cham and Starkiller looking like they get 3rd and 4th. We also have Ladder Heroes. FearDragon. You want to tell us a little bit about Ladder Heroes? What's going on?
This is the first time I'm seeing it. Hold on. So looks like Winter, Nina, Peely, Chan. I'm just kidding. I'm half joking because I automate a lot of this now, and I'm working on automating the payments. So next time you have me on to talk about Ladder Heroes, I'm gonna be like, I don't know what does the graphics say. But yeah, I brought this back. So it just came back on July 4th because I thought it was an appropriate day to bring back any Ladder Heroes. EU Ladder Heroes is also back, and if you're an EU player that is in Grandmaster and you want to play, go sign up because this is like a trial month. If I don't get enough EU signups or interest, then I'm gonna just do NA and not do EU, and I'll double NA's price pool and I'll region lock. No, I won't do that, but yeah.
All right. Well, congrats to Winter and congrats to Drawl. Does Winter still live in Asia? Like, doesn't he live in Japan?
Yes.
Or something? Yeah.
Still does.
Yeah.
Still does.
Oh. Yeah, he's kind of quietly playing the tournament circuits over here and stuff. Looks like he's doing well, winning that. Check that out. That's at ladderhero.es, right?
No, not anymore. I gave up that. So I gave it up because the Spanish government started sending me email addresses saying that in order to own a .es URL, I have to have a social security number for like a Latin American country or for Spain. And
that's funny.
when I purchased it, I may have entered in a random series of numbers. So I kind of had to give that up. It's at a Ladder Hero or ladderheroes.feardragon.com now.
All right. Well, that's where you guys got to go now. Check it out. We also have the Aodai Weekly. Justice Simon wins another one over Dark Impure 3-1 in the finals. Nux and Vivid in 3rd and 4th place. Legacy Weekly Japan. There he is again. Winter getting 1st place over Psyarch in the finals. Congrats to him. We also have the Alpha X Junior Championship Season 7. Arag Fire over Exo Striker 4-1 in the finals. And it looks like Wannabe Byun and Sly Crab hitting that top 4. It's for players 15 years old and younger, not having reached 6,000 MMR. So check that out if you fit all of that. We also have the Sugar 2v2 Cup, Practice, X, and Ghostly Swarm end up winning over Knight and Larry. A Protoss player named Larry. That is perfect.
He was a
3 to
epic
1.
2v2er for a long time.
Yeah.
He was a very prolific. I actually just almost called him an epic gamer. He was, and unironically, but he was a really prolific 2v2er for a while.
Yeah.
Well, you got second in the tournament, so it makes sense, right? Oh, look at that. DRG Ling was even playing. There's some Koreans entering that too. Huh. All right. Well, check it out. Oh, we also have Liga Cubana de StarCraft 2. Cocholo. 3-0 over Whisper in the finals. If you are in Cuba, this is the tournament for you. We also have Amantes de StarCraft 2, second edition, the StarCraft lovers. Zerglord, 3-0 over Yanzi in the finals. Check that out on Cosmos SC2. We also have Sentimiento Latino with Ryu over the Zerglord, 3-1, with Paco Mike and Eggs rounding out that top 4. Battle of the Americas, Patty Mac in the finals, loses to Nina, with Starkiller and Eggs hitting the top 4 there as well. You can check that out over on the Cranky Duckling stream. We have the Exxon Cup with Cham taking it down over Nina, hitting another finals. Kawaiian in 3rd place, despite retiring from being a pro gamer and getting a lot more tournament placements since then. Nitix in 4th. Check that out over on Winter's stream. We also have the Alpha Pro Series, Zest against Cure. Cure 5-2 over Zest in this tournament. That was on the 4th. And Hajinson did a winner's interview as well. So check that out on the Alpha X SC2 Africa TV channel. We have EDF SC2 Tournament 2020. Little Mac, Firebird, Borealis, Magnath, Errant Knight, Fireclaw, Jimmy Schmo, Guitar King, and Psychic's Noob are leading. All right. We have the Miserable Cup where Nina once again in the finals defeated Silky 4-1 in that finals. Rob over Creature for the 3rd place match. Check that out on Misery's stream. We also have the Cock of the Walk, Christianer 3-1 over Max Pax in the finals with Zeomech and Mixu in the top 4. It's on Chicken Man's channel. The Shirshadi Open on Shirshadi's channel, won by Nina. Another tournament victory for her over Vindicta in the finals. Kawaiian, another top 4 along with Pure Legacy. Winner, winner, I'll buy you effing dinner. TLO takes this one down 4-0 over Koss and gets a free dinner. Congrats to him. You can check that out on Some Drunk Canadians stream and everything. So you think you can beat a pro number 1? Looks like Some Drunk Canadian has set this up, and I think basically it's a new series where $100 is up for grabs for a pro player. They will play 10 games against anyone who signs up, and the winner gets $10. It means you can beat a pro and get paid. Nina is going to be the first one doing this, so check that out over on Some Drunk Canadian's stream. Your chance to win $10. All right, The Pig Show, episode number 16. Pig had Estrella on, fresh off of his GSL run. You can check that out over on Pig's stream and YouTube.
He also interviewed Future just like recently. I don't think it's on his YouTube yet, but it was a really, really good talk. So go subscribe to him so you can actually get wind of that because it was really good.
Yeah, take a look, guys. Pig makes great stuff. What is this, though? The back seat. You guys want to explain this to me? I see all of your pictures here.
Okay, so what happens is, you know how Twitch chat doesn't have an actual audible voice? Well, we decided that the best way to give it a voice was to have 3 people backseat each other or basically all of us backseat each other as we all ladder. So we just take turns in a rotation and we just yell at each other and give each other terrible advice. And that's the entire show, is that we just troll each other.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. Why even episode number 7? Why even bother TVT?
Who did this?
I really appreciate the all 4 of the pixels that are in that photo that they chose to use for the backseat as well.
Okay, so all right, but here's the story, right? So first of all, the story of the cover is that my hard drive is not powered. So I had to download a thumbnail from the other videos, which apparently didn't download the full resolution. So when I uploaded it with the new cover, it had like a black box. So it was already less resolution. And then the story about this game is amazing. I don't know who submitted this, but I played a TVT after hosting for 10 hours because it was like one of those really long days. And I was so tired, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to play. All right, fine, I'll play. So I played a mech game in TVT, and I just like YOLO'd all my Hellions on top of this guy's tanks. And instead of tapping out GG, he was like, why even bother? And then left.
But
I was like,
before they said, I remember this. Before they said that, they were like, "You really are a piece of work or something, or you really are annoying, aren't you?" Or something like that.
But
I really like being annoying.
You started it by starting off the game, or actually, no, you said it after a winning moment. You were like basically super far ahead, and then you like offensively were just like, "I'm a girl and I'm tired."
Next
yeah,
game.
I'm sleepy and I'm a girl.
I'm
just to make him
sleepy
feel
and
That was
really
the next
bad.
game.
I'm like,
That was the next game.
What makes what makes teenage incels feel terrible about a video game? Let's just put it all together and give it all to him at once.
Like, my God, you had. I mean,
They told me to. They all told me to.
Well,
we
I
did
guess
tell her
that's what Backseat is. It sounds very entertaining. Everyone, where do they find this? Do you all stream it at once?
Yeah. We all watch each other's streams to backseat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we spot stream it and multi Twitch it and all this stuff. So,
And then we
yeah,
give
it's
each other
fun.
backseat advice on a 6-second delay.
Damn, 6 seconds that's a bit. Like, no, the banelings are about to hit. Don't bother.
Dude, micro the war prism. Micro the war prism. It's like the war prism's been dead.
Yeah. All right, check it out, guys. On Pig's stream. Yeah, check it out there. All right.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. Inside the scene with ES Champ. LGBTQ and esports looks like an interview with Nina. You can check that out over on ES Champ's YouTube channel. We also have La Espira podcast. This is basically a Spanish version of the Pylon show, talking about all the StarCraft stuff. As Demon Swap Horus and Jim Rising talk about DreamHack Masters, GSL. Hey, they kind of copied us, but I guess they're talking about the Latin American one instead. There you go. Check it out. Lespira.com/podcast. All right, we have the Diamond and Platinum Heroes Season 2. Yeah, it's organized by the Platinum Heroes. They have a Discord channel on that. If you are Platinum or Diamond, definitely go check that out. It's a great community. We also have Terran Overdose featuring Big G, Maru, The Machine, TY, Bunny, Cure, and Dream. Okay, I haven't actually seen that, but that looks like it's probably going to be funny. So check that out, guys. There's a link to it there. You can do it. All right, this week in Brood War, the Brood War G's Weekly, we had Shine, the Korean pro gamer, enter and beat True Touch in the finals with Super, Gosu, and Cassier making the top 4. I don't even have any idea who those two are. But congrats to Shine for taking that easy foreigner money. We also have the Undermine podcast, which is all about the Brood War AI scene. It's over at makingcomputerdothings.com. We also have Man vs. Machine Showdown, and it's going to be on Falcon Paladin's YouTube channel coming up. These are replays from the StarCraft Human and AI League, which is people trying to beat the actually very tough, very strong AIs that exist in Brood War. Check it out, schnail.com. Coach Pupil League 5. All right, this is a busy graphic, isn't it? All right, Team Socialized Healthcare are the champions, I believe. Season 5 playoffs end July 31st. Okay. This is hurting my brain trying to figure out what's going on in this graphic, but check it out. Coach Pupil League, a great way to learn to play StarCraft 1. All right, that's it. That's this week in StarCraft. Cool.
Okay.
All right. We got through that pretty quick, I would say. All right, so let's start off talking about some of the DreamHack Masters stuff that you guys have been involved so heavily in. Why don't we start with the NA? The NA scene. We'll get that bracket up and those groups up on the screen for everyone to take a look at. And yeah, I guess let's just kind of start out with the group portion of it. Obviously it's huge groups of 8 players each. The top 4 from each group end up advancing. Were there any games that you guys thought were like big upsets, exciting, interesting games that people can check out? A lot of StarCraft there, so I'm sure people would love some suggestions on what to watch with their limited time.
That's a
In
great
the
question,
round
Dan.
robin?
The answer is all of them.
Whoa, damn! All right, I'll get started right away.
Oh, it's definitely not all of them.
Definitely not.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, there were some stomps, but there was a lot of really good games. Go ahead, Jess.
Well, I'm just clarifying. Do you mean just in the round robin groups, or like today and yesterday as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're kind of talking about everything, but
Oh,
I
okay,
was kind
'cause-
of starting at the bottom. Yeah.
Definitely today's NA bracket was amazing. Both series. Definitely check them out. All to game
That need
5.
Australia.
Dude, like both of them were sick, man. That was so
This-
exciting.
There was so much
Yeah, I
hype
saw
around that
Rotti
first-
tweeting about that was like really, really good.
Yeah,
PvP.
dude, you're gonna love it. The PvP was
Yeah.
insane.
To
They'd be
me,
like
this is
shield
also,
batteries.
like, historic moments as well, because it's like Estrella, I think, has been like the contender for second best Protoss player in North America now for almost, I want to say, like a half a year to a year. And it's kind of just like he finally came back from Korea and stuff, and he's just like, oh shit, is he finally going to be like beat Neeb, solidify himself as the best like North American Protoss player? And it had a super close series. And Future managing to beat Scarlett was sick also.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
be extremely surprised if Australia actually isn't one of the qualifications out of North America. Like, if Australia ever feels bad about his StarCraft, and he sees this VOD, Max, go and compare yourself to this time last year. You are a completely new monster, and I'd be very, very surprised if you weren't the best North American player over time here. The rate that he's improving.
He's really good.
Mhm.
I've been an Estrella fan for probably close to a year now. He
Me
has
too. I mean,
so much
initially,
over the past year.
I was just a fan of him because he's just such a sweetheart. Like, he's just a pleasure to talk to and to hang around with. Like, I remember meeting him for the first time, weirdly enough, in Kiev, and he was just like so smiley and happy and genuine. He was coming in for the hug, and obviously in 2020 you can't do that anymore. Hugs are banned forever. But at the time it was still allowed, and I just appreciate, like, he was just so excited. He was just so happy to meet people, just to be a part of the WCS circuit. And now he's like an absolute monster, and he'd be a threat to a WCS circuit. If he's in a group with anyone, people would be like, "Ah, shit,"
Yeah.
He's a huge monster. It's great, so exciting.
When you have players like that, I feel like it's always really interesting. Also, like, I loved talking with like Neeb or like talking with Cyril and stuff, and seeing how they got so much better in like a short period of time. And with Estrella, like, I love, he had just like the coolest mentality to approaching the game, where literally anyone, I would come to him with ideas, or like random like gold leaguer I'd see him at a Cheeseadelphia, like go up to him and be like, hey, you should try this thing, and he would actually humor them and like really seriously be like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. Like, why does this work? Why doesn't this work? He doesn't dismiss anything. So he's just super open ideas, which actually is part of the reason why I think he has like a very kind of different tweaks on his playstyle. Really, really cool.
I've definitely noticed that talking with him, but it makes me a little bit nervous when people start to take things I say seriously, because I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, are you patronizing me here? Like, yeah. So very, very close series against Neeb. I feel like I haven't seen Neeb much lately. How is he looking? Because I haven't watched this yet.
So he actually lost to Silky in the round robin, which was kind of a big upset, but it just turns out that Silky's playing pretty good. But it is still a question mark. Like, Neeb doesn't look like the guy who can like take on Cyril anymore from North America, really. But I think we were all a little bit like, yeah, maybe Neeb's lost his touch, but I think his comeback against Australia actually kind of proves that he's still the guy who wins tournaments, even if he doesn't seem like he's in control. So
yeah,
he's doing all right.
He still looks really good versus Scarlett, I think. But yeah, he is like I feel like if him and Scarlett did like a fusion dance and merged into one person, like a lot of their weaknesses would cover each other. They'd be like a far more consistent player. Because I feel like Scarlett loses to the players that Neeb like is really good against, and then Neeb loses a bunch of the players that Scarlett's really good against, like in terms of players that you consider below them.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. How was the Scarlett versus Future match?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah.
'Cause
Definitely
she's
check
in
that
really
out.
good shape at the moment. I mean, obviously just made the round of 16 and everything, but
Well, then you'll be impressed with future.
Yeah.
Yesterday's European matches were also really sick. I mean, there was one game yesterday where it was like 20 supply to 19 supply for like a minute. Like, there's really cool games yesterday for Europe. I think today it was mostly about the North America. But I honestly can't even remember all of the round robin groups. And if there are any good matches, I'm sure there were.
No.
I don't remember.
There's some 9-hour plus broadcasts.
Oh.
So
That's totally fair. I understand that.
Yeah.
You could put a gun to my head and ask me about matches that I casted last season in GSL. I'd just be like, no idea. No
Silky
idea.
versus TLO is absolutely worth watching. That was a really fun series to watch.
All right. All right. You guys have any predictions for the NA bracket that we're looking at here? Nina versus Silky, Namshar against TLO.
And I feel like Nina is stronger than Silky, even though Silky's definitely, turning a lot of heads here for this tournament, is maybe stronger than has ever been. Nina, same deal, I would say. And I just have a little bit more faith in Nina winning that one, but I think it'll be close. I think Australia versus whoever comes through will not be close. I think Australia, I just finished ranting about how amazing I think Australia is. And I think it's similar on the other side of the losers bracket there, although I think Namshar or TLO would give Scarlett a bit of a run for her money, although I'd certainly favor her over either of those players.
You guys think that Australia will run the bottom part of the bracket, or
I think so.
What would Australia's Scarlett look like? That could be really good, right?
A lot of attacks, all-ins from Scarlett, maybe fast fire stuff. The crazy Zerg stuff that Zergs love in this matchup. Yeah, you go, FearDragon.
Yeah, the thing about Australia's playstyle is like, and I think he's gotten a little bit more consistent and better about this, but like his big strength is that he creates a lot of like really interesting builds that actually play really well versus standard meta. Yeah. And Scarlett is a super smart player and also has lived with Australia and like the whole Unity team house and stuff. She knows Australia really well and she knows that about him. So I'm pretty sure
they're good friends.
Scarlett will just come with like something that's not standard and Australia will really have to cater like to that series. I feel like that's actually gonna be a really tough match for Australia.
I don't disagree, but her clan tag was adepted.
Okay.
I think Scarlett has opinions.
When has Scarlett, tell me a point in time that Scarlett was like, you know what? I think Protoss is balanced, if not underpowered.
Okay. Nah, I think the more appropriate thing would be tell me a time when like other like, popular builds have like done her in. And I think I have an easy answer to that one, which is like the 3 racks, man. Like she didn't, or not like the 3 racks Marines, but like Reapers. Remember that? That's literally how you got her to respond to you. When she wouldn't talk to you about a tournament.
Do you know that story, Dan? Have I told you that story?
No.
So Scarlett would play in like Ladder Heroes and a bunch of like other events and stuff that I was running. But I would message her and be like, hey, Scarlett, the event is like tomorrow. I need you to confirm that you can make the time and everything, or I need to like give up your spot. So like actual important time sensitive stuff. No response. And this would be for like 2 weeks that she just wouldn't be responding. Finally, I was just like, hey, Sasha, so how are Zergs supposed to deal with 3 racks Reaper? Like, I don't understand how are Zergs actually supposed to defend against this? Immediately just starts typing, boom, boom, boom. It's fucking bullshit. And the reason why is because, and it's just message after message, 3 words at a time. And I'm like, by the way, Sasha, can you confirm for Ladder Heroes tomorrow? Instantly, she's gone. She's eating dinner or some shit. I'm like, oh my God. I know how to summon her. I can Beetlejuice her with just complaining about Terran.
That's literally what she did. Like I was like, it was me and Jake and Sasha and like we're all over at their old house, like their old house. And I remember she was playing a tournament like 3 a.m. and I remember like her like all tapping to Skype because I was back when Skype was being used and like responding to something like not important and then like missing FearDragon, like literally FearDragon's message. Good stuff. Anyways, I do think that she can be a little tilted by some of the more popular, good builds we have, and the depths are pretty good.
Well, that has been her weakness a lot. Is I feel like her mentality against Protoss sometimes is what does her in more so than anything else. Like it feels like there's kind of like a little bit of a sour attitude against Protoss a lot of the time.
That's why she plays it.
Yeah, there you go.
Thinks it's pretty
All right.
good.
And what about Future versus Neeb? How
That's
well is
actually
Future playing? Is he
interesting.
playing well enough to take that down?
FearDragon.
Look, I don't make predictions about North America. I'm simply here to witness it. I was born on this earth 29 years ago in order to just witness the North American StarCraft, to say that it happened and that it mattered. That's all. I'm not here to make predictions or tell the future. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that
Um,
Future has a real shot. Like,
Yeah?
I think some sneaky TVP builds, maybe hit up Uthermal. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Maybe it's a
Mhm.
little
Yeah, get into
tilted.
that. That's the great thing about Terran players is that we are a hive mind, and it's very easy to get another Terran player to assist you with an upcoming series, even if you don't talk very often. Especially someone as helpful and wonderful as Uthermal, especially when they're a build order king like Uthermal. Should check out his YouTube, by the way. He's got some very cool guides.
Yeah.
But the some of the things that give me future hope is I think he got a map off Australia in group stages as well. Australia for me is like a pretty a little bit of stronger player. Neeb is obviously a monster, but I could see him going down to some off meta, offbeat shit in TVP for sure. Like some of the weird stuff with future. And like most NA Terrans to me are very build ordery. You know, they have a lot of openers or aggression that's a little bit different, and again can just get a huge advantage off that, if not just straight off within the game. So I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of like an NA fantasy is future for me in terms of like the way that he likes to play matchups.
High praise.
Yeah, I have nothing but praise for future. He's the Ozcraft champion, the inaugural Ozcraft champion. That is the greatest tournament of 2020 so far.
Yet another non-Australian taking y'all's money.
That's right. Hey,
Probably
we're not going to get bitter about it. We're Australians. We're the most chill people on the entire planet. Go and find me a people
Yes,
that are
all of
more
the
chill than
Australians were very chill about many things.
Risky
Yeah.
was like, how do I get in on this?
They were super chill about our season finals as well. Everyone was very mature and definitely didn't act like children about anything at any point. But
There was
yes,
no twit longers or anything, right?
there may have been one.
There was
may have
one,
been
but it
one.
could have been like 3 tweets. It wasn't that long.
It was either a twit longer or it was a chain of 6 or so tweets put back to back on actual Twitter. But there was definitely at least 1 or 2 rants.
I think there was a video.
There was a video, yes. There was a video, but it was like it was actually the argument for sensibility and
It was a
rules
nice
of rules,
video.
which was the opposite of where anyway. It was a relatively nice video. It was actually meant to pour some water over the fire, I guess. For everyone that's not aware, there is a little bit of discussion about region locking in our particular region at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when's the next broadcast day for this for people to
Tomorrow.
check it out? Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, you guys haven't talked about this at all yet, right? Because 2 weeks ago was the first. Yeah, you guys didn't talk about 2 weeks ago either, did you?
Yeah. No. Our last couple episodes haven't
Yeah.
touched on.
I just want to bring up the somewhat controversial, I think more interesting discussion, which is about the format and the actual scheduling of it.
Okay.
Since I know that's something
bring
that
it up.
I mean, that's what we've talked about, like me, FearDragon, Maynard, and I know there was at least one complaint on Reddit that, while not the most eloquently worded complaint I've ever read, it's a lot of point, and that's that it's quite convoluted. No, I imagine you just wake up and you watch VODs Artosis, which maybe is not so bad. You just are like, whatever, whoever gets through gets through. But for people who are actually trying to follow it, I'm gonna ask them. See what their reasoning is, but I don't actually know the reason why they would divvy up the groups like they have for the broadcast.
So yeah, no, I always go to just links either on Liquipedia or SC2links.com. What is the actual live broadcast looking like as far as that? Are they jumping back and forth or something?
Yes. So sometimes it'll be 2 from Group A, 2 from Group B, 1 from Group C, and then we go to North America for the day, and then there's 2 from Group B and 2 from Group C. And just imagine that for 9 days in a row until we got to the playoffs, basically. Now we're in the playoffs and things are much more
It's like
easier to read.
But
when you look at the groups,
sometimes-
it's kind of like one of those old dot matrix printers where it's like bzzz, does like a line of like the first couple series of each group, and then sort of crosses over and starts to fill in over here, and instead of just going one group, second group, third
Right.
group, fourth
Yeah.
group. So yeah, I mean it's a bit strange. Anyway, FearDragon, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, but sometimes they actually have 4 series playing all out at once because they didn't want to have an extra broadcast day or slot or anything. So you have A, B, C, and D streams, but those 4 streams will only exist for about 2 hours. But then the broadcast overall will exist longer. But like it just gets really, really weird. And yeah, they don't even go like A, B, C, and then B, C, D, and then like C, D, A or something. They don't go in like a normal line. It'll go to like C, and then it'll be B for 2 series, and then it'll be A for like 1 series or something like that. It'll just be like kind of weird, random, seemingly random orders.
Maybe two things pop into my mind, like why this might be. First off, it could be that they're trying to get the feel of like Katowice, where they're jumping around to different brackets and things or something, but that doesn't seem quite right because it's not like that at all. Or maybe they want a certain number of games and they don't want to make players wait for series or something like that. So it's like you come in and you do your series, and then you don't have to wait for the next broadcast, however long that's going to take.
I have a theory on it. So my two, that's I could see both of those. My theory originally was just that it was one, potentially a scheduling thing on why they jumped around so much. Players said like, I'm not free because right now they basically have to play 6 days a week, which is a lot, and you still have other stuff. And I think the other thing is that they probably thought, even though it seems like most players are disagreeing with this, but when they originally scheduling everything, instead of just doing one massive chunk of a group in one day, they were kind of like, well, we don't want to make players have to play for like 6 hours straight. So let's split it up between different days so that you're only really playing like 1, maybe 2 series a day. And players, of course, I want to say, like, they didn't like that because they just feel like they have to play every single day, which is also stressful. But I feel like that might have been the reasoning. That's my guess.
I think the first point you made kind of loses weight. I think the other points are great, but just because you brought up scheduling, I feel like it would be better for someone to schedule 2 days entirely devoted to a StarCraft tournament as opposed to 9 days potentially devoted to
Yeah. I agree on that. I guess I should preface it as, if you assume that second point that they said, let's make sure that no one's playing too many games or multiple games in a day because it'll be easier for them, or they might like it, even though that ended up not being the case. If you assume that, then with the first point, it's like, well, scheduling, let's see who's available, like at what times and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, some people are saying that they found it okay. I would absolutely argue that it overall wasn't. I'm not a fan. Even though I love what DreamHack is overall doing. Like, I just looked at Wikipedia. How many people don't even know Wikipedia exists? They're gonna tune into a broadcast and be like, "Oh, this is the group," because they'll see that schedule thing, and then just be like, "Oh, wait, no."
That's where it gets funny, is that most of the StarCraft fans, or at least, the vocal StarCraft fans, will say, well, we have Wikipedia, we're fine. Which is true. If you have Wikipedia, you are fine. It even has broadcast times of those groups in Wikipedia, which is obviously fantastic. Like, you can just mouse over a bracket and it'll say, even in your local time zone, it'll convert like so easily to know what's going to happen when. But ZG's right. Like, with new fans coming into the game, or people that don't follow the game super closely, they're going to show up and go, oh, that was a cool series of StarCraft. What did that series mean? And then they'll switch back into the group graphic, which is the most in-depth graphic that they have for that particular thing, and go, oh, so we're doing this group now? And then it'll jump over the other one. We'll go, oh, we're going over to group B. And it's like, okay, did that series mean a whole lot? I mean, it's also the weird thing about round robin, right? Where they're like the first few broadcasts of round robin, first 3, 4 maybe like 3 broadcasts of round robin, the series is basically give someone an advantage or disadvantage, but still don't mean anything at the end of the day, because there could still be a resurgence. And you're basically talking about a advantage or disadvantage. It's kind of like you cast the first 2 games of a best of 3 and they're tied up 1-1, and you're like, well, tune in for game 3. But it's one of those weird situations. But I think that the format is very fair, And I think that if you do have Liquipedia, it's more than easily enough, digestible. But as a viewer, like when I try and put myself into a viewer's a viewer's perspective or a new player's perspective, which I like to do sometimes, I do think it could be very overwhelming, and it might cause someone to basically check out of the format in general, just because it is such a monstrous broadcast with such a giant bracket. Because keep in mind that it's not just this tournament; it is a whole series of qualifiers leading into a tournament, which lead into another tournament, because there's the season finals as well as the regional finals, as well as the qualifiers for those regional finals. So it's like a huge upside down, like a root system going into the trunk of a very very deep and very fair. Like, I'm a huge fan of the format, very, very fair format. But it's just so hard for a regular Joe normie to follow, is what I'm saying. And that's my current opinion. But I again, with ZG, I don't think it's bad. I love that there's StarCraft every single day. I love the amount of broadcasts as well. But I would love for it to be super digestible and super easy to follow, because I have seen a lot of confusion. These are just like my initial thoughts. I'd love to be able to like sit there and process it a bit more, and maybe get to Apollo with like a true feedback message. Maybe write something for him. Like a Google Doc or something of all my feedback. But right now, it's just straight off the top of my dome. That is the current feeling, I guess, towards the tournament.
What's awesome is that Artosis, Apollo has already made a tweet saying that he's not only like accepting feedback on Twitter, but he's going to make basically like a Google survey. So
I have complete faith that it'll be better and better and better. They'll iterate it, and it won't be the exact same thing next season. I'll believe it or that as well.
I do think that it is worth telling, though, right? Because like I also am thinking from a viewer perspective, but even as a host and a caster, like I can't. It's much more difficult to make a narrative. You know, people come because they're like, they don't know who the players are, but they're like, oh my God, this guy apparently is about to get knocked out. The stakes are high. I'm saying, who the hell are these guys? But we could never do that. Basically, the last day was super hype. You know, kudos to the round robin format. But for every other day, even like the third to last day of the round robin, it was still kind of like, well, we'll see tomorrow. Who knows? I think that's, you know, it's always what we talk about. It's what you learn when you become a commentator, right? Is that story is really what grabs people, and not the individual games necessarily.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's another. That's mostly why I'm not a big fan of it, because I think the alternative would be something like where they do most of a group in a day, and then some of those final important matches all together on a different day.
Yeah,
which is something that I've they're very receptive to feedback, which is very awesome. I'm willing to hear some like opposing viewpoints as to why it could be a better format. But right now, especially with the players finally tweeting about it and all being like, no, it's way too stressful. I haven't seen too many in favor.
Well, that's the thing, like, right? The as a viewer, a single elimination tournament is so easy to follow and really, really hype.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's the other end of the spectrum, is single elim right at the end there. And then that's usually what we finish with, like a WCS or something like that, or something like that. Eventually, it does come down to a single elim, but it's just also on round robin side, it's way fairer. But for a viewer, it's like, oh, well, that series didn't matter. And then, and even towards the end, they're playing series where one player is eliminated and the other one isn't, but they still have to play a game of StarCraft, or play a series of StarCraft, sort of thing, So it's kind of. Yeah, finding something in the middle would be cool. I'm not smart enough to figure it out myself, straight up. But I can just. Sorry, you go.
I was going to say, like, for the base prize money, like each match does matter for the player at least a little bit, right? Because if you get like at the very bottom, you get 200, but like if you're top 16, you get 400, right? So there's like a little bit of mattering there, but yeah, I would definitely say, like, listen to what you guys are saying here. I think you have to err towards the fans to make a good show. Like, even though it might be uncomfortable for players to play like the whole group or everything but like a couple deciding matches at the end in a day, if that makes a better show, I mean, you're a professional gamer. Why are you a professional gamer? Because people want to watch you play. People
they
want
do it for
to
home story cup. They'll play a round robin a day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't see, like, I think that would be a much better thing if you guys just cast all of Group A in one day. Suddenly there's this inclusive storyline. You can kind of have the entire thing, all the hype going through the group, and if it's going to be better for viewers, it's better,
Yeah.
right? It's like you can't really argue that. Pro gamers, like, you want to treat them as good as possible and make the tournament as robust as possible and things, but at the end of the day, this is about entertainment. It's not about pro gamers being comfortable with a playing situation as much as it's about getting people to watch something they want to watch.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little bit of a no-brainer. And I have to say, I'm really glad they tried it because I can't actually think of another premier event for like these kind of stakes or anything close to it that did something in the past like 5 or 6 years where it was just like every day you were basically playing games with like maybe 1 or 2 days off. I feel like it's a format that just has not been tried. So I'm really glad they tried it. And now we know, like, okay, players didn't like it because it was extremely stressful and difficult for them to schedule and have to play games every single day almost. Casters didn't like it because it was harder to build narratives. And also, I'll say it really sucks having to prepare for like 20 players instead of just like
Yeah.
10 players because
Yeah.
I don't know which of the series are going to be A stream or B stream until like literally the day before, like 12 to 14 hours before. And even on top of that, like we're just jumping around between groups and everything. So casters didn't like it as much. And then viewers also felt like it was confusing. So I feel like it's a no-brainer, but I'm really glad that they tried it.
I think the format actually really works for the smaller regions. So the ones that I covered, the Oceanic region, the Chinese region, where our playoff bracket was 4 players, and the group, and unlike the group stage before the playoffs was like 8, 4 per group, and 2 groups. That's easy. When it's Europe and NA with their like ginormagantuan mastodonic groups, then it's a little bit tough. But I'm actually, if I had to choose, I would probably prefer, for reasons that FearDragon suggesting, CG suggesting, is that I would prefer like a day for a group for Europe. Then the next day, maybe the broadcast starts at a different time, which could be confusing because obviously NA wants to start a little bit later. They don't want to start when EU starts because it's at like 5 or 4 in the morning or whatever. So maybe it's broadcast starts at a different time, but just be like, oh, this is EU week, and then this is NA week, or something like that. Or this is EU day, and then NA day, instead of having EU and NA back to back. Because it is such a giant broadcast, we have to prepare for so many players, so many groups. And like FearDragon mentioned, we sometimes don't know the series without a ton of... I mean, we can prep pretty quickly, but it is nice to know which 8 players you're going to broadcast that day as a commentator, just to make that storyline building thing that we were mentioning as being so important for a new fan, and also the commentator's job to build a story, to make a picture, paint a picture.
Yeah.
And if I could bring up even more as I hijack this.
Wow, somebody really hates DreamHack, guys. He should come again.
Yeah, I would.
Oh my
They
God.
should really hire Zombie Group more. I think it's kind of a question, just like it's a more vague question than me being personally intertwined with it. Which is that, in Artosis maybe remembers this the most out of all of us, but there used to be season finals back in like the 2013 era. You know what I mean, right? Where like MVP would win GSL season finals and then he'd go into the season world finals or whatever it was called.
Yeah, there was like I remember Deer Royal Roaded, and then there was like this. It was weird. Yeah, it was like a season 2 finals or something, which was this big thing that everyone would fly to, and it was like cool, but I wasn't surprised when they didn't continue it. I think we only had that in 2013, if I'm recalling.
Yeah, they listed like one of the reasons to not continue it as it kind of like ruined any of the stories. You just saw someone do a Royal Road and then they literally got bopped 5 days after. So they're bringing that back, which I know a lot of fans right now are actually like only 5 years old as fans go, so they don't even know what that's about. But they're bringing it back, and I'm not hating on it. I think it still sounds cool because we want more crossover stuff. But I mean, does it actually make sense that we bring it back when it was already tried once and failed, or is it just the online format that caters to it so much that actually makes it exciting again?
It does make this feel like Maynard said, like these are qualifiers. It does feel like that because of that, right? Like this is, it's hard. It's like, yeah, you're the NA champion because of the qualifier. Yeah, that's true, but it doesn't feel as much like a championship. I don't feel that way with the GSL. GSL just kind of always feels the same because it's GSL, but like with these other ones, it does feel much more like it's that qualifier thing. Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like
that's why, like, as a sorry, delay.
Go ahead. Good. No,
I was gonna say,
finish your point.
No, you finish. No, you hang up. But for me as a commentator, I was like, oh, this is a season final, and we are like, I feel like a lot of viewers not season final. I've got to stop using that term. Season final is actually the end. That's the big thing at the end. That's the season final. But the regional final, so like the playoffs and that sort of thing for that region is a separate thing. But you're right. That is meant to be a big end finale for that region, because there was a bunch of qualifiers played for that. These are not the qualifiers. This is the main event for that region. Which is why, as a commentator, I had to like, oh, if I don't bring up the prize money and the EPT points here, no one is actually going to process this as a fan, that this is actually a final for this region. You know, like the EU bracket is obviously amazing, but we're still treating it as a qualifier in our brains for a lot of people, because we care more about the season finals, when it's going to be more like an IEM where all the regions are playing against each other at once, which is, you know, obviously really, really hype, and that's where most of the money is. But you go like there's like $13,800 or something US for each of these smaller regions, which is a huge prize pool. Like, I need to keep bringing this up to make people realize and even just feel the gravity of the moment, because it's hard to it's hard to bring that across when you have an online broadcast, I suppose. But you know, it is our job to do that.
You actually brought up the point that I was going to make, which is the prize money and stuff, which is, I think, what divides it away from like the other stuff, for me at least, is that even like you were talking about the smaller regions, like even North America, which is like not even Europe or anything, has a 40K prize pool almost. It's like 38 grand. And I'm like, that's larger than most of the prize pools for premier events from like 2016 through 2017 and stuff. Like most of those like 25 grand, I think. Something like that. I might be thinking of the wrong year, but like to me, the prize pool really just distinguishes it. But I hear that or criticism a lot, and I'm really curious, what do you guys feel like would change that perception for you while still keeping region locked events? Because I think the region lock, like challenge, because let's be real, it's basically like Challenger with boosted up prize pools, right? That's what this kind of is trying to be, in a sense, with a different format and everything. But like it's trying to take place of that. So like, what would change people's perception? Because Challenger had the same problem, but I always thought it was the prize pool thing. And that solved it for me when they bumped up the prize pool. Now I actually look at them all as individual events. Is there something that you guys can think of that you could change while keeping like the core aspect, the core region locked aspect of it?
It's a very good question. I feel like the base problem is that it's online. Online just automatically means less prestigious. Just for like multiple reasons, not because of like ping issues or anything like that, but just literally because we don't have people in camera shots that are fancy, and we don't see the player interviews and Smix walking up on stage, the face of WCS.
The legs of WCS, excuse me.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do think I'm going to be like self-critical. I do think we're doing a very poor job of hyping up how much money are involved in these events. In fact, we rarely mention it. I mentioned it once as my first day of hosting, and then no one ever said anything about it. Like, oh, that was good you noticed it, or no one in the chat ever said anything about it. Yet that is something I see in chat, is people being like, it's an online tournament. How much of a big deal could it be? So I do think like maybe like actually being kind of obnoxious with the prize pool and the EPT points might help on the production and caster side. And then that's all I've got so far.
Yeah, it makes sense, because if something doesn't feel prestigious, that could be a way. Whereas if you ask me what the point structure is for GSL or how much prize money they're winning, I have to really think and be like, I have to visualize the check that was handed to TY. I'm like, I don't know, was it 20K? Like, I just don't know, because I don't care, because no one really cares, because it's GSL, right? So it's kind of got that prestige built in.
Yeah, it's like the glory of being a GSL champion.
It's like, I'm like, I don't care about the money. Do they care about the money? They do? Really? Wow. Well, I mean, okay, that's yeah, I guess that is a lot of money, but really, I think for fans, they're not thinking like, whoa, that's something that like, okay, yeah, the international, it's like, wow, you're a millionaire now. Here it's like, well, what we're looking for is the champion. Which, yeah, I guess that because it's not live, it doesn't have that feel. But if you do point out the prize money, it's like, dude, if you win one of these, you're basically going to, the world championship at the end.
Right.
So that's like, yeah, I think that definitely would help with that.
I think someone kind of prompted it in chat, but what we're seeing with a lot of other esports right now is that they very much have a divvied, segmented region thing going on. I think one point against us is that we're combining NA and EU, despite being two massive tournaments with their own funding and their own points. And then there's also Korea, which is, just always going to be more prestigious. But we have the same casters. It's just an hour-long break in between. I mean, I do see a reason as to why these other events are actually having, like, EU starts at 10 a.m. every day and NA starts at 6 p.m. every day, and you can expect these guys every time you tune in. Where right now it's kind of bleeding together and giving that impression that it's not a championship. We are just kind of waiting for the real championship, So, I mean, maybe there's something there, but I know the production probably wouldn't want to be up until 5 a.m. because they're based in Sweden.
Can I ask you? This is gonna sound like the most stupid and silly thing, but do you think if they just color schemed EU and NA differently on all
I
of
actually
the
don't think that's
broadcast
stupid.
That's stupid.
I actually don't think that's
Literally,
stupid at all.
this is a problem
No.
that I ran into with when I was doing ladder
I don't
heroes,
think
and I
that's
would do
stupid.
them back
I
to
don't think
back,
it's
and I was like, I'm just gonna color them differently, and it felt really different.
I actually don't think that's dumb. I think having
What do you mean by
something
that?
to set the broadcast to pay.
So,
Okay. No, you go.
good. Okay,
No,
I'll go. All right. So
You two are so cute today, by the way.
I know. We just love each
here's
other
the thing,
so much.
is that we're gonna play Dungeons and Dragons afterwards. So I'm trying to get as drunk as possible because right now we're at the cute phase, but in like 2 hours of drinking, Maynard's gonna hate me, and that's where our character should be in our D&D campaign.
Excellent.
But yeah, I was saying, so like, it seems like a really small thing, but even just like the broadcast assets and everything all look the same. So they're all the same colors, it's all the same designs and everything. I feel like having the same designs is probably fine. But even if, like, imagine like EU had all blue stuff and I don't know, America had like a bunch of red-ish designs and everything. So there was like a visual difference that felt like it distinguished the North American broadcast from the European broadcast. Like there's a clear change in the pacing of the show.
That is
Actually,
a great
completely
idea.
agree. Actually,
What the
completely
fuck?
agree.
That's
Not silly at
brilliant.
all.
Like
Yeah.
I just that. Well, I mean, I made you explain it because I didn't really get it. But that's a fucking great idea. Like seriously,
Yes.
I had to do this with ladder heroes.
Apollo. This
But
needs
that's
to
the thing.
happen. This is like
That fixes one of the problems is that the broadcast, even for my region, we have all the same assets, all the same backgrounds, all the same graphics, which is
Dude,
cool because it makes
make them
everything
different
look like
across
part of
every
it.
region. It'll feel way different. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, no, I agree. And maybe even when you tune in, like you are just tuning in, there is a webcam, and a lower third that pops up sometimes. But I would love to see a banner or a logo for North America or Europe at somewhere in that graphic at all times. Just so when you tune in, you see that color or you see that logo and you're like, oh, this is North America. Or if, like Zombie Grub's suggestion, you rotate in a different crew for North America versus Europe. Anything to differentiate the two to make it very obvious that one is a certain broadcast and a certain event, and the other one is a certain broadcast and a certain event, because differentiating the two is where things can get blurry for a viewer.
I love it. I think that's a great idea. I think that would
FearDragon,
that changes
uncharacteristically smart of your suggestions there.
Don't worry, I'm getting to the point where I start doing dumb things. Give me another few beers, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm so on board with that. I want that so badly right now. I haven't even started watching the VODs yet, but now I'm like, damn, I'm gonna see the same fucking graphics on these two regions. I can't believe it.
Prepare for 15 hours of the same graphic Artosis every day.
I also want to defend really quickly, because we've been talking a lot about this whole thing and like things we'd like change. I want to say two things. One is that, especially like Zombie Grub and I are in like at a Discord with all the production stuff, because that's, how we communicate and everything. Like, we've been giving feedback and having conversations, and they have been super open and receptive to all of it basically, and are happy to have conversations and everything about it. Like that last suggestion, I didn't even make. It's more just something I've been thinking about the past like day or two. But Like they've been really great. I want to defend them and say like they have not had the opportunity or the time to respond to these suggestions, but like they're open to them and we've been making them. So props to them.
Great.
Like we just want to make sure it's not like. And by the way, guys, Zombie Grub, Maynard, let's all rant about how terrible it is. Like this is not.
No. This is all obviously just in case anyone out there thinks that we're shitting on anything. I mean, first of all, shame on you. Maybe pay more closer attention to what we're saying. But second of all, just to reiterate, I actually think that the broadcast and the production has been fucking amazing, and the people that have been running production are very, very, very good. I don't work with the NA and EU people, at least not yet. I haven't had the chance to. But even for my region or the regional stuff that I've been doing, we've been running with the ESL Australia crew. They are super chill and so easy and so professional and very easy to run with. And we've done things like, hey, can we make our background, like, instead of just having the full screen webcam, I'm like, it's probably not doable, but do you think you could add the background to make it have a bit more of a dynamic view for, like, similar to the EU and the North American one? And they're like, oh, yeah, no worries. We'll fix that up for the next broadcast. The next day I show up for work for the cast, and they've made the changes. It's just instant. And also, Apollo's just saying, hey, we want to make the tournament as good as possible. Come back to me with your feedback on region locking, on format, on broadcast, that sort of thing. And it feels so open and ready for change, and even is changing during the broadcast, that it feels like I have a lot of positive feelings about future seasons.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. And that might be part of what's good about this all switching over to ESL. How they're kind of run in smaller groups a lot of the time, whereas with Blizzard,
very little red tape.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go to a room with 12 people in it, 3 of which are qualified to talk about the topic, and the other ones vote against them, and suddenly fucking nothing happens because we've seen that happen before in the past. With
let me go to head office, let me go to blah 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 blah. We're still waiting on a response.
Bosses and tag 4 other people in the email for visibility. Wow, that's a great way to get things done, isn't it? So I've had some frustrations with shit like that in the past. All right.
I add in one more thing, which is literally live reporting messages that I'm getting for Future on this particular topic of making things feel like a premier event. And I hope Future doesn't mind that I'm literally just going to read out his Discord messages, because I'm pretty sure he sent it to me to be read out. But he's saying, like, I don't know what value this information has, but he was like very so-so about the competition. He was super stressed about wanting to win with like the super long format and everything. And then he realized the night before his matches versus like Scarlett that the tournament was labeled as a premier event, and he was just super motivated because of that. Literally just having the label of a premier event can change your motivation level, how much you're willing to practice, like the way that you approach things and everything. Like it does make a difference whether or not we label things and consider things a premier event, like especially for players, because it's kind of what you were saying, Dan. Yes, there are of course players who are going to care about the money and everything, but the distinction in people's minds about the level of importance that an event has a massive impact on the motivation level of for things. It has an impact on the viewership for things, and whether or not people feel like, oh, I can probably skip this because this is just a qualifier for stuff. I'll go watch the actual event. Like it has real impact, like measurable impact.
Definitely would agree with that. Yeah, there's some great feedback and ideas about that. And I guess anything else on that specific, like feedback on the format before we jump into the EU, just to talk about a couple of the games.
Wow, that was a long NA segment.
Yeah,
like it should be, Maynard. Like it should.
Whoopsie daisy.
EU, yeah, it was good. You should check out some of the VODs, Dan. Anyways. No, just kidding.
I think we've been pretty comprehensive about our thoughts there. I think it's all of our jobs just to try and make it feel like a huge thing. It's hard to do with online, but we're going to do our best. And I think there are a few things like what we suggested and what FearDragon brilliantly suggested with even just color schemes, small changes we can make to make it feel not only different from each other, so you can easily distinguish one from the other, but also make it feel like a big event. I think that we've touched on a few things, even just nutted out together here. A small little brains trust that we got going on.
All right.
Excellent. To answer the question, I felt like Marine Lord versus Cyril is a really good series. It was worth checking out.
Well, that's exactly where we're going. Let's jump over to the European group / bracket.
Let's do it.
What are some standout matches for you guys here?
I was trying to remember the European stuff as well. So it all just blended together in my head. I wonder why.
Yeah. I can go first, or Maynard, if you have some already.
Europe is actually the one that I'm still catching up on because there are 9-hour VODs to watch the next day, and I do have things to do during the day to try and make my bills get paid.
Jesus
But
Christ.
I know,
This
I'm
is
so
why I
sorry.
wait for I don't watch things live almost ever because like I need to be able to fast forward through shit. Like I do not have the free moments to watch the Reaper hit the Lings. I don't have it.
Every time I watch GSL, it gets me every time
like,
because I am
every
just that
time it
guy.
happens- Yeah, we were talking about doing like a highlight reel of this where you show the
Yeah,
three
I
great
watched.
Reaper
I remember.
pressures where Lings died that year out of the 70 games where we saw it. It's like, on my deathbed, that's not going to be what I'm thinking about. I wish I could see a Reaper attack Lings more, Like, I don't need it. But yeah, that's how I generally do. I wait for the tournament to basically go towards the finishing, and I get a lot of suggestions on Pylon shows we go over, and I'm like, all right, these are the VODs that I'm looking for. But please,
I mean, there were like I feel like especially in Europe, there were a couple of series that keep in mind that there were like 5,000 series played in Europe, and I think that maybe 2 or 3 of them were a bit of a surprise. But overall, it's not a shock at all. It's not really that big of a shock to see, Group A, B, C, and D, and see who's the top 2 in that group.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. It's kind of like what you would expect. The only just glancing at the groups, for instance, the only real upsets that I see here, the biggest upset seems to be a laser 6th place Group D, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow,
that is a bit of a shock.
but Anya's been doing well in TSL and everything, so I'm like, oh okay. I mean, that's shit like that could happen.
Denver got a 2-0 versus Showtime, which I'd definitely consider a big upset and is like worth checking out.
Showtime does seem to hate the matchup though. So in that sense, I'm also not super surprised to see Showtime lose a PVZ against anyone strong in Europe, honestly, because it seems like he already really didn't like the matchup back in 2019. I mean, everyone hated Versus at the end of 2019, especially. But like right now, Showtime seems to have a bit of a maybe a mental block or just a bit of tilt towards that matchup.
Well,
I would. Okay, go ahead.
Well,
I think we're gonna make the same point, Zombie Grub.
PVZ doesn't seem to be in a fantastic state right now.
That's not the point I was gonna make. You're wrong. Showtime.
I actually agree with it, but go on.
Showtime went 2-3 versus Serral, so I don't know. Like,
that seems good to me.
But like, it's not. Is it that bad?
I mean, it's really unfair because we do that the Showtime. We're like, yeah, it just seems like he's not quite there yet, and he's like, I'm just losing to Serral, and it's like,
I know.
Okay. But that's what happens. He faces someone who's very, very good, and he just can't quite jump over that hurdle. But I think the summary of the groups prompted a little bit of looking into the statistics, the stats. The numbers were crunched, and it's not so great for PVZ right now. Like, I'm not going to start a balanced conversation, but if Showtime is a little bit like, well, I don't know what to do, I think he might be in good company.
You know what
if anyone out there on the ladder is having a tough time in the matchup, look into Banelings and also look into Ravagers.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Do you know what the numbers were?
It's something insanely low. Like, amongst all of the PVZs of this tournament, so Europe and North America, and I think China and Latin America and stuff like that, it was like 32% win rate for Protoss, like something insanely low like that.
But are Zerg players just more hardworking than Protoss players?
I think that's been a trend, personally. Like, I think that Protoss players might just be the laziest.
It's been a trend for quite some time.
You mean I look at Showtime, who's like a 6'2" straight back, perfect posture guy that jogs every day, works out, and I look at him and I go, God, what a lazy fuck,
I mean,
he wasn't Nexus so long getting chiseled abs. Maybe he could win a PVZ.
Yeah, right. Maybe he should do less sit-ups and play more PVZs. You know what I'm saying?
In Korea they're struggling as well, right? Normally we have like a really deep Protoss line, and right now it's like watching this season of PVZ has like hurt my brain because it's just fucking Glaives all the time, and then the Protoss loses. Except last night, Trap, a fucking killer. He's the best PVZ in the world right now, no doubt.
He also had one of the worst in Korea PVZs at one point, for that level anyway. But anyway, I see it in the Lima League as well, especially in Korea. It feels like PVZ has turned into a very boring matchup for me. It's been very much like I'm going to adept printer or do something with a warp prism early that's going to cause you to make a lot of roaches, and then you're going to attack me, and you'll either win or lose.
Yeah, a lot of it.
That's a lot of it. We are seeing like a bit more fast Spire and Spire in general in that matchup as well in Korea, but yeah, that's. I think in Europe it's a little better, I think, but it's or just like a little bit. You'll see something different every now and then, but in Korea it's especially like ugh. At the moment, for me.
How dare you? Are you saying that the Korean Zergs are ahead of the European Zergs in the meta? How dare you? First of all,
I'm just saying that they have settled. The Koreans have settled. They're like, this is how it is, and this is how it's going to be.
Koreans tend to do that, yeah. Look at the ZVZ for the past years. It's roaches. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so any matches just jump out at you guys? Zombie Garb, you were mentioning before when we were talking about NA about like a very low supply crazy game. What was that?
Oh yeah, that was yesterday for Europe. That was Hero Marine versus Rainer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nailed it. And they had some pretty good games. There's like a really sick comeback game as well for Rainer, but that was like one of the crazier games. I remember like fast forwarding like 2 minutes ahead and being like, oh, the game ended, and then like rewatching those 2 minutes and being like, so those were sick. As FearDragon was saying, Marine Lord versus Serral was pretty cool. Serral versus Lambo, they're like one of the upsets in the groups, was also I think worth watching because some cool neat things happened.
I don't remember, or I haven't seen it. Like I haven't gotten around to watching it. But Braddock beat Hero Marine 2-0. Like
yeah, that was one of the few series that was a surprise. Honestly, don't think Lambo beating Serral is that surprising to me. I don't know, maybe like I could see Serral losing that tournament,
right? Like
yeah, probably, but he I feel like especially in a best of 3, if you can take a map, you can take a series. You just have to take 2.
And Lambo has literally been like Lambo's the player that sometimes goes 3-0 versus Serral, but loses the series because he gets to a winning position and then throws. Like, so I think this is like the first time, but I'm with Maynard. Like, Lambo has won versus Serral and then just didn't close it out. So I think this is a big. I think it was a big moment for him, and that's cool.
Yeah. I think winning a best of 5 would be tough, but for me, a best of 3 Lambo winning is very doable. Well, he's not going to do it all the time, back to back to back to back. But I think that a series here and there it completely makes sense. He's very good.
And I'm also very biased, but I really enjoyed a lot of Mana's series. Mana had some really really fun matches.
It's very cool to see him in the top 2 in Group D.
And he's always like an entertaining player because he always kind of brings his own little fun twists on whatever matchup he's playing.
Yeah, it's cool to see him stay stable throughout the years as one of the best Protoss in Europe. All right. Any other shout outs? You guys have any favorites for the tournament? The European?
Serral.
I mean, I am just so excited that we could potentially get a Clem Rainer series in the winners finals because I feel like we haven't seen Clem and Rainer play a lot lately, and it's good to finally happen. It's the Maru Serral of the world, but just specifically for Europe, we just want it and we never get it, and I'm just so excited.
Have we actually seen Clem Serral? I don't think I've seen them play since Clem came up.
Actually, no. You know what? Not really. Not as much.
I wouldn't mind that.
Another
Do we see anything as much as Clem Rainer though? I don't think so.
Nothing. No.
I think that lately from the stuff that I've seen, Thermal actually has Clem's number. They were even joking about this on Twitter, so I remember I went and looked it up. Thermal's like, Clem definitely wins games and he wins like some series here and there, but I think that lately Euthermal has actually been pretty good versus Clem. So I actually think that Euthermal, even though Clem might stand a better chance versus like someone like Serral or Rainer, Euthermal might actually end up beating Clem.
Yeah, that could very well happen. And Clem did recently beat Serral like 4 months ago, 3 months ago.
3 months ago. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
in best of 5.
I missed that one. Oh, damn.
It was Red Bull Zelnaga Finest, number 3 final. Which admittedly wasn't as popular as people were hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Sarah will be putting more effort in this one, so I would like that. I would like to see.
He does seem to show up on the finals, and after that final bracket, it's when Serral really goes Super Saiyan.
All right, and you have games for this tomorrow as well, I guess.
Tomorrow and Thursday. Wait, tomorrow's Thursday and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday.
All right, damn, lots of
Mhm.
StarCraft on right now. All right, guys, check that out. Any final words on the DreamHack Masters tournaments before we jump into GSL groups?
Well, frankly, Dan, I'm just disappointed that we haven't all seen every single series, as this is a lot of you guys. I mean, this isn't my full-time job, but it's your guys' full-time job. And I'm really disappointed you guys haven't been able to keep up with 6 days a week of 18 hours of StarCraft a day.
That is an absurd amount. Like, that is truly impossible to actually do. It is actually, that's like...
That is one of the things that's an issue, is that even as a
That's a lot.
full-time StarCraft person, you actually can't watch all of it every day.
It's kind
Well,
of
maybe if
relief,
you just watch,
though.
yes.
Once upon a time, for years and years, I actually watched every single pro game.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, there's like a feeling of guilt if you've missed something, you know? But now that there's so much that literally no human can do it, I'm like, oh, it's okay to miss some matches. It's fine. It's like...
But like,
It's just
I
like
still
the gym,
feel that
man.
guilt.
You miss one series, then you start missing 2 series, then you start missing 3,
Yeah.
and then it just starts to slip.
Oh, God.
But like,
And then all of a sudden you're in a broadcast for a BlizzCon final, and you're like, is 2-1-1 still here? Are people still doing that? That's what happens 5
Well,
years
you
later.
feel the guilt,
watch Archer versus Spats. You would have known this already. You're right.
You didn't
yeah.
realize
Oh,
that
it's
Gerald-
so right for
You didn't
that,
realize that
man.
Gerald upset that one series? You fucking
Oh.
no passion hack.
Oh, it's so right for that shit, man. Oh my god, Twitch chat sometimes.
do you guys feel that like feel that stress though? Like every single time it feels like I've done a DreamHack cast, I feel like GSL is on the night before.
FearDragon, let me tell you about a time where Zombie Grub was doing her first WCS and had to cast and only had 6 hours of sleep and didn't watch the GSL that was on 2 hours before the broadcast started. And that's when Innovation brought out 2-port Banshee. And then that's what fucking
what
Masa
Masa-
did, because Masa's like, that seems cool. Of course I'll do it without practicing whatsoever.
Without practicing.
And Twitch chat went, lol, they don't know the build. They didn't watch the game.
Yeah, sorry for not watching GSL at 4 a.m. at a fucking broadcast where you have to work a 12-hour day and at some point get sleep. Fucking
Like,
I have
chat.
watched every GSL since then. Before
And you
know
guys
us.
wonder why Artosis doesn't have StarCraft 2 installed. It's because he's too busy watching it, right?
That killed me. That killed me. My God. Joseph, I noticed that you're playing StarCraft 1. You must not have StarCraft 2 installed on your PC. Oh my God. Get out of here. All right. DreamHack Masters. Guys, it's on all the time. It's probably on right now. Check it out. Okay.
This isn't DreamHack
Great.
Masters? What am I doing here?
All right, let's jump over to the GSL groups. We finished up the round of 24 last night, and the group selection took place right afterwards.
Yeah. Spoilers, but sick result for Bunny. That was unexpected. God damn.
Dude, he played really well. Like
He did, yeah.
improved some of his plays. Like Nick pointed it out when he turned around and went home when an attack was going.
Yes, on Eternal Empire. That's so much
never do
maturity.
that.
No,
he
he
would
would
just
never.
sit there, and then Lings and Bains would come in, and he wouldn't have anything left.
Yeah.
But now he pulls back. Like he's looking good. That's the best.
That is true. You know,
He's been around 16 before, but that was his best play to get there, I think.
and it's Tasteless fucking nailed it. It was it's so cool to see him, like, I guess, mature or at least change or try something new out, but to be like not afraid of playing the later game on a big map. That was really cool from Bunny, because he's almost always going to be aggressive historically. So very cool result.
Yeah, no, that was
Hi,
good
Apollo.
to see. And,
Although I'd like to give you some feedback about DreamHack when you get off ZG's lap.
Says, I'm listening, Maynard.
I'm listening.
Tell me more.
Please tweet at Apollo the cat.
the by the way, about last night, again, I just mentioned it briefly, but Trap played the best PVZs I've seen this year. That was the best.
Which was also unexpected, because normally Trap gets dumpstered by Zergs. So that was cool.
He that was really impressive, because I was actually not sure that he was going to get out of that group when he didn't beat Bunny, because it seemed like Ragnarok might be able to have his number, because as you said, he loses PVZ sometimes, but he was looking fucking beautiful in PVZ. That was the cleanest PVZs I've seen all year long, seriously. And it wasn't just depth printer bullshit. It was like, no, pressure, go back, defend, come out, pressure again. Oh, look at those force fields, interesting unit comp, good, just everything was awesome. So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that match.
I'm trying to pull up the groups, but I can't seem to straighten out the stats here.
I didn't get to watch this GSL broadcast again just yet, but the one thing I do know is that Borsty, who's an awesome member of the community, tweeted at Gemini, who is the official fanboy, and I think going to write the biography for Trap at some point. Borsty tweeted at Gemini and said, "I understand why Gemini is such a big fan of Trap." And Gemini got really excited about the matches, and then he watched the series, and he was like, "Oh, you were being sarcastic," because apparently Trap just balance whined about Terran during the interviews.
Damn.
Even though Trap had the best PVT in the world at one point.
I know, I'm like, you only get interviewed if you win.
Nice one.
He was sloppy as hell in that match.
He did make some pretty big mistakes, yeah.
He's like, the prism died. He's like, nah, it's fine. I can still do this up a hill. It's anyways, a good night last night. And of course, we had the group selection. You can see the groups here on the screen. Let me just go over the groups real quick. You guys give me your thoughts on them. Group A, TY, Scarlett, Special,
fucking nuts.
DRG. Yeah. That's a crazy group right there. TY, Special, Scarlett, and DRG. What do you guys think?
A bit of a shame to have the two foreigners in one group together, because I feel like, you know, it's tough to get both of them through to the next stage here, or even one when you take into account that, you know, TY is the GSL champion and DRG is the strongest player that's returned from the military ever, I think. At the moment, him and Dream and maybe not Parting, but he's, you know, Parting hasn't gone in the military, but yeah, Tasia is the other person I was thinking of. There it is. Yeah, Tasia's looking good as well. Obviously he's not in the round of 16, but you know, Lima Leagues and stuff, Tasia looks very, very strong. Dream looks very strong, but Dong Regu is the strongest, I feel, of the players that have come back, except for Parting, who, yeah. But yeah, that's a tough one to call. I mean, my head says TY DRG probably, but Special. That's the other cool thing about, you know, I wanted to bring it up earlier when we were talking about NA and EU, that when two friends play each other, the series can just be that extra little bit of interesting / meme, and TY and Special are pretty close. So that series actually could be very interesting and very like build ordery. Yeah, that's how I like to describe it. You know, people opening in a sort of mind gamey way.
Yeah,
look forward to that.
I feel like as of last year when they were in the same group together, TY and Special, that Special finally got out from TY's shadow. But at the same time, TY is the best TVT in the world. And he always has been. He always will be. And you can't fucking convince me otherwise. So
always will be is a strong call. But yeah, that's,
always.
I mean,
will
wrong.
be.
Always
retired.
will be.
I'm gonna be like fucking an MVP fan for TY. It's gonna be 2030. And TY has been retired for years. And I'm like, TY would TVT right now.
There was only one bond draw, and it was TY.
He's been a full-time GSL commentator for 6 years straight, and he's just like, yeah, if I logged into StarCraft for the first time in 4 years, I'd still beat him in a TVT.
I don't know, but I have no idea who gets out of the group. TY always, but that's such a hard one.
Counterpoint. Yeah. There's 7 days before this group gets played. If Scarlett and Special practice with each other, both of them have an opponent of the other race. So they just practice with each other.
Very differently from the
Then all they have to do is get so much better at those matchups that Special can beat Dongre Gu, Scarlett can beat TY, and then they both advance out of the group.
Your narrative is dumb.
The mirror in the final one.
Your narrative is dumb, and you should feel dumb.
Yeah, your narrative is dumb, and you should feel dumb. That is correct.
I'm pretty sure Special's better.
Things.
Special's better friends with TY than Scarlett, I'm pretty sure.
That's actually probably true, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Group A before moving to Group B? All good.
I mean, yeah, great group. I think that can be said about every group, though. They all look very stacked. Like, I mean, it is round of 16 GSL Code S, but
yeah,
I think in GSL sometimes there's always like one group that's a little bit But these are all actually like super pog. That's fucking great.
As far as excitement, I think this round of 16 is awesome. It's so good excitement wise, like the players that made it through. I feel like if I could, and the thing is, Bunny played really well, so I don't want to talk shit. But if I could swap him for Tasia, this would be like the ultimate round of 16. You know?
True that. I mean, I'm just gonna predict that TY and DRG make it out.
Right.
That's my prediction for Group A.
Say TY and Scarlett.
Excellent.
TY Scarlett, yeah. I'm with that.
Yeah. Well, I think only special's gonna get out, so fuck you guys.
Only special. Only special. The last match will be a forfeit.
Yeah. Damn, he's too good. Let's just leave, and they all run out of the studio together and get disqualified.
Nice.
All right. Group B. We have Innovation, Dark, Bunny, Parting. That's a wild group. I mean, it looks like Innovation Dark. And like, I'm not used to Bunny playing as well as he's playing, but Parting, guys. I mean,
I'm going to start things off by saying, Bunny, it's been a good run.
Yeah.
It's been good. You know, this has been a very nice showing. Pleased to see you make it to the round of 16, but you will not be seeing the round of 8, my friend. This is Innovation Dark facing off right at the get-go, which is hype as fuck, which is like one of the greatest Terrans of all time against one of the greatest Zergs of all time.
I didn't watch the group selection yet. Does any of you know how that happened? How the fuck?
Innovation Dark. He picked him, I think. I think like,
what a madman! Like what?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of other people that you would expect him to pick over Dark for sure, but especially considering Innovation's been bitching about Zerg for the last 10 years. He's like, let me just grab the strongest Zerg in Korea. I don't know, man. I would love to ask him. I wish I knew enough Korean. When a way to contact him, I would love to know.
We'll figure it out. It was translated, so I'll watch that part of the thing later. Let's say, does Parting have a chance to get out of this group? He does, right? He's Parting. He always has a chance.
In a world where Terran players can still get cannon rushed, one man cannon rushes his way to victory.
All right.
Someone's got Maynard envy. This guy.
I know.
But he didn't come.
I was born with this high-pitched voice. I just want to be a play-by-play commentator.
Damn, Maynard, you have great ventriloquism skills.
Oh yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on Group B?
Innovation Dark wins.
I think
Fine.
I'm gonna say Innovation Parting.
I could see it. I could really see that.
And then we're going to have one of those days where, like, every time that Parting won in GSL, his next stream would just be him laddering for 6 hours, listening to We Are the Champions, and him singing along really badly with a $10 microphone.
Okay, can I say something that's only semi-related to this? Did you guys see the Parting cooking stream? Because it felt really disturbing that he had a laptop microphone or something like that, and it wasn't peaking the entire time.
His
Because he
webcam
had
mic is probably better.
He literally used the built-in laptop microphone, so it didn't peak.
I'm actually, I used to think that he just didn't know, but now I think that Parting knows that he has this brand of the worst audio on Twitch, and he purposely uses the worst mic possible to make sure that he has the worst audio quality.
100%. That's
important to have both ends of the spectrum, where you have like Parting on one end, and then you have M-canning on the best end.
Patry rolling over in his grave right now. All right. So that's Group B. We have Group C: Maru, Solar, Trap, Dream.
Maru and Maru and
Maru,
Trap,
right?
yeah. Maru and Trap.
I'd say Maru Trap. Maru Solar, maybe?
Maru Dream, folks.
Maru Dream?
Maru
Dan,
Dream.
I love Dream, but I've heard you in GSL. I think you think Dream's better than he is.
How dare you? What? No, Dream. I have faith. This guy. No, I saw Trap play PVT last night.
Yeah, that was uncharacteristically bad PVT from Trap. He's normally a lot better. But
Yeah.
no, Dream specifically showed up for GSL though. He's another one of those guys like Bunny for me who, will play in a lot of the online tournaments and do okay, but not really get anywhere near the end of it. But Dream prepared like a crazy person. He was so ready for that group. He looked like an absolute monster. He definitely had some surprising results. But I would also be surprised if Dream got out of this one. As much as I love Dream, I'm a big fan, but I just feel like he's gonna be outclassed by a couple of the other people in here.
Okay. They're pretty good. I mean, Trap's been in how many GSL finals now, and Solar is 7K Zerg. I get it, but yeah, you'll eat your words. You'll see.
I would gladly, if Dream gets out, I'd be so hyped. That'd be amazing. Gladly eat my words.
So Solar just has been super surprisingly impressive. It's not even necessarily that I'm like, wow, he's playing out of his mind. I'm just always really surprised with his results. Like, I feel as though Solar just gets slept on a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised by Solar, but I'm still Mario Dream.
All right.
Oh, sorry, Mario Trap. What am I talking about?
Oh, so yeah, I thought you were getting smart there. That's okay.
God, no.
All right. All right. Moving to Group D, we have Cure, Stats, Zest, Rogue.
For me, this is the group of death. Because we've got we got 3 champions in this group with like Cure, who is, historically, I guess statistically, to say that Cure is the worst player in a group of 4 people is weird. But just like historically, maybe I would say that right now, Cure is not the worst player in the group. I think it's actually maybe Stats, which is dumb to say. It feels stupid to say that. But like Zest, Rogue, Cure, I feel like are really, really good right now.
You're right. For current standing, right, we have first place Katowice, second place Katowice, second place in the last GSL and Stats.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, currently speaking, Stats, you would have to be like, yeah, he's probably right now the weakest. Even though I'm kind of side-eyeing Zest, like, are you really just only going to make adepts? Like,
No. Zest is now making dark shrines.
Yes, that's true too. Yeah,
he is lacking dark shrines and he is lacking shadow stride upgrades.
Look, guys, I'm not saying that I coached Zest, but I'm not saying I didn't.
Dude, Blink DT has gotten a lot more popular lately. I've been seeing it upgraded more and more.
That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I seem to have also gotten more income lately. Maybe it's because I'm coaching all the pro players.
I'm
Sure.
feeling Cure Rogue. I'm going Cure Rogue on this one.
Oh wow, okay.
I think the only Protoss in the next round. Actually, I don't know if any Protoss are making it to the next round. Maybe Party.
Trap. Maybe.
No, we already went over this. Dream and Mario again.
Yeah. Sorry. How dare I say Dream's not going to make it out of Group C? Yeah, I mean, I do feel like the round of 8 is going to be very Protoss light, and I don't see like Stats and Zest haven't got an easy time in their group. Trap doesn't, and neither does Parting. But I would say I'm going to say Rogue Zest for Group D.
Okay.
Because whenever I bet against Rogue, he wins. Son of a bitch.
Going
So I'm
Cure
going to do the
Rogue.
opposite. All right.
I'm going Zest Rogue also because I think that Zest is going to knock Cure down, and then Cure is going to somehow lose to one of the other 2.
How that would work, yeah. Cool beans.
All right.
Good talk.
Good time. All right. Who's your favorite to win the whole season, everyone? Before we
Innovation.
TY.
First
Always
pick.
TY.
The
Team
fans!
Minigames.
TY is going to have to deal with a shitload of Terrans, and we just finished talking about how good his TVT is. And I think that this guy
that is true. That's a good point.
and I
TY
think that yeah. What's his rate for casting at GSL? Do you know? Because it'd be sick to win GSL at the GSL while getting paid as a commentator at the same time.
Yeah,
What an
damn.
absolute alpha dog. What a complete
Interview
alpha dog.
himself.
Interviews himself. Wow. And he like finishes his game, goes onto the GSL desk, like kicks off the fill-in commentator and takes his headset, and he's like, curious. Sorry, I was trying to remember who it was. with Gisato and Park and just sit down and go like, yeah, that's pretty good. You know, that's I think that I did really amazingly in all of those games because I am the best, and it's nice to win 2 championships again. And then takes the headset off and skateboards home.
You know what? You're right. You're right. It's going to be TY. Obviously, there's just too many good Terrans this season. Who can stop him? Really? It's like maybe Dark, but you saw what he did to Dark last season. He fucking mangled him, put him in a wood chipper.
Like if anyone questions
wow.
TY's ability to prep, that was some prep right there. And I mean, his series against Dark and then against Parting were both signs of him being a preparation god. And even the final against Cure, I mean, that was 3 weeks of GSL back to back to back, where he was like, oh no, I've downloaded you. You are like, you're not gonna. All right, CG, explain yourself.
Innovation is going to prove that he is the best TVT.
You're just an innovation fangirl, just like I'm a TY fangirl. All right, that's what it is.
The robot will not be stopped this season.
He will be stopped.
No,
TY will stop him.
He's gonna have the power of being on Zombie Grub's team.
I would love to see Innovation actually win though. Like because it annoys me that his name isn't thrown around more as like a possible GOAT. I got my list of possible GOATs and he's one of them. And like if he wins another season at this point,
I'm with you.
Difference. All right. I guess that does it for GSL Talk. We can get into the Patreon questions next. Thank you all. Make sure everyone checks out GSL. It's not every single day for fucking 22 hours like DreamHack Masters, but we will be back on Wednesday for probably 3.5 hours or so. Check it out then. All right, time for Patreon questions. Guys, you still have a little bit of time to drop questions into the Patreon. Check out patreon.com/The Pylon Show. Some of these questions have been copy-pasted from last week because we had a different topic last week, so we'll be answering some of those now. So let's go ahead and get to it. Knocked Cop asks, enjoy casts the most when Tastosis or the Home Story Cup couch don't take their casts that seriously. Could managed mayhem with caster minigames be the answer to the variety content itch? Like casts with bad Danglish, Konglish, Spanglish, or picking Ling Surround, Tank, Warp Prism, Locations, or Snipes?
And with caster minigame.
I don't
I guess he's saying that like
at all.
When casters cast, being like, okay, this time you're gonna cast with bad. What is Dinglish? Is it Dutch English?
Dutch English, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Talking shit on Rotti? I'll fight this guy, man.
Rotti actually has like a not Dutch English accent to me. Like Harstem and Euthermal sound very similar. Rotti sounds very different. Anyway.
Yeah. I think I know what he's asking. I kind of had this idea of like doing like a Valley Girl like cast for my YouTube and being like intentionally very vapid and whatnot. Maybe that's kind of what he's saying.
I'm already vapid by default, so.
That's your charm. We got to make sure you don't know what's going on, Maynard.
and I'm an Australian, so I speak one language badly. So I feel like I'm already ticking all the boxes here, right?
I think like it's good to have a variety of casting overall. I think that's important to spice it up in that way. Nick and I try to vary how we cast GSL, like more loose in the beginning and more serious towards the end, because I think that, it's like if you're in the group stage of DreamHack Masters, I feel like there's more joking around than if you're in the finals of it, right? It's just like you should have a range there that makes it more interesting, I think.
I don't know about everyone else, but I personally, like, just as an aside, it's kind of relevant, is that as a commentator, I always prioritize entertainment over anything else. Like, obviously, I don't want to be saying the wrong thing, and I want to bring up stuff when it's very relevant. But I'm with you. Like, for a grand final, I'll cast very differently than I would for, say, a group stage round of 24 or best of 3, where I'll generally make jokes or work with my co-commentator to just try and make some funnies over just wow, this is super serious and blah blah blah. Because that's to me, that's not only like a little bit exhausting, but also feels a little bit fake. Because I normally am a bit more of the happy-go-lucky kind of fun person, or at least I like to be. But yeah, I do that by default, I feel.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that answers your question, Knock Cop. Thanks for asking. Red Gunner Guy asks, I am doing a guide series on YouTube. Plug. going through every single unit in StarCraft 2 multiplayer. Now I am on the Oracle. Wanted to get input from you guys. What are 3 strengths and separately 3 weaknesses of the Oracle? This guide is totally for new players. Thanks.
Weaknesses for the Oracle? Wrong unit, mate.
None.
None. That is one of, like, whenever I see the Oracle, I always bring up, well, not always, but I like to bring up the fact that it is actually useful at the beginning of the game, the middle of the game, and the end of the game. There is no point where the Oracle is not useful. It's a detection unit, it's a harassment unit, it's a scouting unit. It can stasis ward, it can be a support spellcaster. It's just an incredibly good unit. Its only weakness is that it doesn't shoot up.
Strength number 1. It can kill every building in the game except for a hive if it's at full energy.
99% useless
Oh,
facts.
shit.
Yeah, it's true.
I had no idea. That's great to know. Wow.
Strength number 2. When
Pretty
you
sure it
revelation a unit and it gets loaded into a medevac or something and it unloads, it still has the revelation.
Pretty sure it can't kill a lifted starport, FearDragon.
Or lifted barracks.
If it's burning, it can.
That's like killing it.
Yeah. It does a lot of damage. I would say its big weakness is if you turn it on too early against certain all-ins, it runs out of energy before you kill all the lings.
That is true.
I learned that the hard way.
Its weakness is it will only kill 1 drone instead of 3 if it activates its beam to kill some lings at the 3rd base first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Strength number 3 is that while it's planting down a stasis trap, it has a lower attack priority than other units in your army that are attacking.
Yes.
So if your opponent doesn't focus fire down the Oracle or the stasis trap,
cut him off.
Stasis trap will be created mid.
Thanks, Cobra. Cheers. All right, next question.
Oh, terrible. Oh,
I just get moved to a different channel for spouting too many useless facts. Did I just get wow?
That's a useful fact. That's a useful fact that priority changes if you're doing a stasis ward. Yeah, that can be used in a game. That can. All right. Well, I these useless facts have helped you.
This guy is trying to make this useful YouTube content.
These are useful facts.
You literally call them useless facts. What are you?
I said they're 99% useless.
The series is
There's a 1%
useful facts. It's 90% useless, 99% useless facts. That's
Dan,
how
don't you dare! Don't you dare dismiss the 1%.
His 1% usefulness into useful facts.
The 1% matter, okay?
The glass 1% full. All right, that's it's just one of those guys.
The glass is 1%.
Okay, but actually tell me if you saw a glass that had like a little bit of like orange juice or something inside, you wouldn't be like, oh, it's an empty glass. You'd be like,
I'd walk in the sink.
Absolutely do that. I absolutely do.
No, there's a little bit left.
No.
Or your milk right on.
No.
It's like, that's it. The drink's finished.
No, you know what, Zombie Grub? You cannot say that because I've seen you with shot glasses and you're like, oh, there's a little bit of vodka left.
That's expensive. If you have a good whiskey or something like that and there's 1% of the glass left, of course you drain it.
Or facts. Facts are expensive. It's the facts of life that TV shows cost so much money. Anyway.
All right. Red Gunner Guy, I'm sorry that we couldn't help you on that. Good luck.
Good luck with the video series. That sounds great.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Foot4264 asks, what are your favorite personal stories of being BM'd? Or alternatively, if you're willing to admit, BMing someone else?
I got one.
Yeah. Please.
Wait, I mean, does it really count as being BM'd? I didn't like it. Okay.
Yeah, no.
All right, back in like 7 years ago, someone recognized me when I used to play on my Zombie Grub ladder account. And like, hey, you're Zombie Grub the caster? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, I'm a big fan. And I was like, well, thanks. And then he followed up immediately with, well, if I lose, I can't tell my friends because I really don't want to lose to a girl. And I was like, well.
Did you win?
I won. I did win, yes.
Nice,
but I guess he didn't tell his friends.
I have. This has actually happened multiple times, but it's just my favorite thing. So there's obviously a lot of different BMs. Some of them are bad. Some of them are funny. Some of them are not so funny. But the one that I always will feel amazing about is when someone does something cheesy or aggressive. They do damage and they type LOL out or something like that, or capital LOL or mana mule or something like that. Like they'll just do the get out thing, right? Like I had one recently-ish where a guy opened with a lot of DTs and forced my third to be lifted. and started like killing all my tanks and stuff at that third base. And he was like, out in all caps, and typed GG offensively to me. And then I won the game. And I didn't say anything. I said nothing back to him. I just typed GG when my Marine and Mind Force completely destroyed everything that he had left.
Wow.
And it was, I mean, I wanted to go and buy a like a new diamond bracelet for my wife after that game, because I just felt like $1 million. You know, it's nothing feels better than coming back from that situation.
Excellent. FearDragon, you got one like that?
I have a story, but you know what? I had a good story about people BMing me. I have a story about me BMing other people. It's my most shameful moment my entire life. Like, if I had wet myself in elementary school, this would still be the most shameful moment of my life. So it's 2012. I'm in like that mode where I care a lot about my ladder rank. I'm super obsessed with my ladder rank. And and this is before you had different MMR per race. And I realized I had been playing team games and I queued as Zerg. Or I think it was random. I queued as random. And I forgot to reset that. And then I queued up for 1v1 ladder and I got Zerg as random instead of Protoss. And I was freaking out. So I 12 pooled. Or sorry, I not 12 pooled. It was like 9, 10, or like 10, 11. I can't even remember what the build orders were. But basically, it was like a Baneling all-in. A Ling Baneling all-in. And it was a ZVZ. And as I arrived and I ran my Banelings in, I paused and unpaused 3 times during the Ling Baneling fight.
You
Killed
are
all of his Lings.
Oh, no.
And won the game.
No.
That was my most shameful moment of my entire life.
I feel like I just learned that my best friend has bodies buried under his floorboards and he's a secret serial killer. Oh my god!
And you know what?
You're a
I
terrible
still
person.
have the ladder points to this day.
I never lost them. Of all the ladder points I lost, I never lost those.
This was literally a life-changing moment because I actually felt so bad about it that I took like a month or 2 off from playing StarCraft because I'm like evaluating whether or not I was like, is this a healthy thing for me to feel or like do? And that's when I actually came back to the game and I approached it as like, I don't care about my ladder rank anymore. So changed me for the better, but it's definitely over the dead carcass of that poor Zerg player.
Oh my god. You probably never played StarCraft again.
I did make my roommate quit StarCraft at one point because I did some dirty
I actually wonder how many people have stopped playing this game because of your playstyle.
That's not fair. Now my playstyle is the meta. So you know what? Can't blame
your
me.
Your playstyle is still not the meta.
BM?
Because you get Dark Shrine and Blink does not mean it's the meta.
My story is not BM, but it's not nice either. In that I did cheese a guy by proxying 3 barracks and lifting him into his main, which he then scouted and then immediately went to battle cruisers and won the game. And after he like was really sad, like I think it was like a frowny face GG, I went to his profile and he had lost the last 20 games today after coming back after 3 years. Oh. Pretty sure I made him quit StarCraft.
Oh no.
Felt pretty
that
bad.
hurts.
1 game losing streaks are the pits.
I had one of the worst streams I ever had was like a 13 game loss streak on stream. And I was just like, guys, I may quit streaming altogether.
Oh, did I tell you guys about the when I like was about to because I had been diamond my entire like StarCraft career. Like at no point was I not diamond. And when I was on the verge, I was 1 match away from getting promoted to Masters. This is like the first time. I had to go to Challenger. So I went to like the hotel room for Challenger and everything. And I'm like, but I'm 1 game away. I'll just cannon rush on my touchpad on a laptop keyboard on hotel internet. And like, surely this will work. I dropped 900 MMR that day because I didn't stop.
You deserve it. What are you doing?
I did deserve that, but it was, I dropped 900 MMR that day.
If you won, I would have been even more angry.
I think
I remember that, man. I
like
remember that.
18 to 23 game loss streak or something. Because I just started rage queuing.
Yeah, I know all about
Rage queue is a thing. Rage queue is a thing. So Dan, what about your stories? Any interesting BM?
2 days ago, I had a stream sniper
Ah,
that. So he stream snipes me, immediately starts talking shit, and is literally using a lag hack. These exist in Brood War. Literally a lag hack, the laggiest game I've ever been in. Like stutter lag on turn rate 8, extra high latency. So like, this is people don't know. You don't know what lag is. This is something else. Okay, this is like our internet connection is going through rocks, not wires, but rocks through the center of the fucking earth. That's what this is like. It is the worst laggiest game. Every time I leave my base, his shit runs in. Every time I do anything, he fucking runs around the whole time talking shit to me, the entire time on stream, right? And fucking things weren't going well because he was just attacking everywhere I wasn't, because it was just like, it was the nastiest human that I've played against in the last 15 years or so.
wow.
And then I grinded the fucking game out, and he kept telling me to leave the game and get out, and I'm a fucking newbie and all this. And he's like, "Oh, you're lag hacking, LOL. Why are you causing lag? Because it's good for Terran." And it's like, well, everyone knows it's the opposite of that. That's, oh my. So I grinded it out and beat him, and that was a good moment. That was
That is
I
ultimate
beat him.
justice.
Feels good.
And I was like, imagine for a moment, lag hacking and stream sniping and still losing. I'm like, I couldn't imagine it till I met you. So thank you.
That moment would have been the same feeling as when Harry Potter finally kills Voldemort. You know,
Oh
like
yeah,
that's the exact same. He's like, I've saved the world, and it's finally over. This villain has been put in the ground. Oh.
Not just that, but I brought like fucking Dumbledore back to life.
Sorry, Cedric came back, Dumbledore came back.
Oh,
They just
dude,
all popped back up. They're healthy, same age. Yeah.
Dan, can I blow your mind? A lot of people will use the same username in StarCraft as they do in Twitch chat, especially Brood War. So after you lose to an opponent that you freaking hate, you can just type /ban in their StarCraft username, and half the time you'll also ban their Twitch account.
Damn, you're probably right. Well, these people that when I get stream sniped, it's a barcode, but you can check what the fucking ID they are. So I find their other IDs, and I'm like, all right, I'm on the lookout for you now. Okay. All right. So good question, Foot. Thank you for asking. I hope you enjoyed the stories. Tommy Balls asks, your hot stepsister comes to you because she only wants one thing. She decided that you're the one that's going to give it to her. She has something that will get you excited. It's a machine that will make your favorite SC player who has never won a major event win the Global Finals 21. What player wins? All right, that started I was like, am I supposed to be reading this?
Yeah, I read Oof. Never won a major event? Well, maybe he means premiere.
Yeah, I think it means premiere.
Yeah, premiere.
Who would you like that has never won? Lee Knock comes out of the fucking military and wins.
I mean, he won MLGs.
Are those
were they premiere though, or were they major?
They weren't classified by that.
It was harder back in the day when MLG was around. Major and Premier was actually like kind of close. There were still pretty big prize pools for majors.
I didn't think they distinguished them yet.
I think they did. Oh yeah, you might be right. You might be right. That feels like a 2013 thing. The major and Premier difference. I'm gonna say Clem.
Jaedong won Premier as well. Did Jaedong win Premier? He won an Asus thingy-majigger.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
You guys are all wrong.
Okay, so Jaedong.
The thing that would literally save StarCraft, even though it's actually still very alive and doesn't need to be saved, if M. Canning won the Global Finals of 2021, the game would never be more alive.
Good point.
I mean, you're not wrong. It'll be very hype, but I'm going to say Clem. I would love to see Clem being the world champion. That'd be amazing.
You know, like, but hold on. How could we actually? FearDragon gave me a good idea with this. It's like, well, if M. Canning can win, what if Tasteless was the world champion? Now that would be marquee.
Oh.
Wait, then you both would have wanted BlizzCon. Oh well, I guess it's not a BlizzCon anymore, but.
All right. Well, Tommy Balls, thank you for the question, although it was worded very riskily. Sate Zero asks, oh no, here we go. A sentient hot dog appears in your home. He is doing something, but cuts himself. You notice it heals like humans do. Would you assume sentient food can regenerate? Could you eat the same hot dog forever if you had portion control? How many hot dogs would be needed for you to have sustainable food?
If it heals like a human, it clearly isn't going to be sustainable. Like,
What do you mean?
if it
I
heals
mean-
like a
Sounds more
chameleon,
sustainable.
maybe it would.
I mean,
Growing its
Wolverine
tail.
heals fast, but
No, if it
Wolverine heals
heals
fast, but if he loses his arm, it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
hold on. If you had like 20,000 sentient hot dogs, because like I could cut off a little piece of skin and it would grow back, right? So you could do that to eat like 20,000 different hot dogs each day.
Dan,
could get
are
it-
you eating
back
the skin
a-
of
like-
animals, or are you eating the meat of animals?
you can take a little bit out, it'll grow back.
That's like
right?
a good old chunk of meat there.
little
FearDragon.
chunk. It's really
Little
painful
chunk.
for them, they grow back.
Just a little
You know.
spoonful.
Wasn't there a Shakespearean play about this where someone had to carve they were owed a pound of flesh, but they
Yeah,
had to
that
like
was,
do it without
Shakespeare.
dropping any blood?
As a merchant of
Yeah.
Venice.
Yeah, Merchant
Shakespeare.
of Venice. Good show.
I mean,
It's a
eventually,
play, but
if you keep on digging out like the meat of a human, so again, they're healing a human. Like we don't just. Eventually, you would dig out so much and like scar tissue as well. Like it wouldn't be the same, and then it would actually disappear. Like
It would not be tasty.
I've had divots out of my flesh.
Would you say it was
before.
tasteless?
They don't grow back the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something very controversial right now. I don't like hot dogs. This question
Yo,
doesn't
neither
apply to
do
me.
I.
Yeah, I don't really either.
They suck.
I got a more controversial food opinion for an
Controversial.
upcoming. Shut up. Upcoming question.
All right. Thank you for the disgusting question, C0. Optional player asks, if some phoenixes pick up Bains and other phoenixes bunch up to kill said Bains, can the Bains splash damage hurt areas?
No, it
Nope.
doesn't. They do
Is-
damage to ground.
Nice.
Yep.
Sorry.
It says, is this a 99% useless fact? Well, since FearDragon knows the answer, yes.
Fairly
This was
common
like fact
question.
number 8 or number 2 or something. Yeah.
All right. So we know the answer to that now. Thank you. Peace, love, and death metal from Niagara, Ontario, Canada, Earth, Solar System, Orion Spur, Milky Way, Virgo, Supercluster. Thank you, optional player, for the very specific location. All right. Evo asks, so I've been streaming lately with all the different streaming platforms available. I was wondering if you or any of your guests stream on multiple platforms simultaneously on one device. If so, is there a program or something you would recommend for doing this? Thanks. You guys are great as always.
Are there multiple streaming platforms right now? Is my first question. I mean, technically there is
Yes, there
YouTube
are.
gaming and technically there is
Like
Facebook gaming, but
YouTube,
I feel like you would be very close to wasting your time with any other platform that isn't Twitch right now. Fair to say.
I could see YouTube being useful for like YouTube.
As a guy that
feel
casts
like
GSL,
all right. And if depending on what game you're doing, like if you're a StarCraft 1 streamer, Afrika might be the best place. Because that's like where 99% of StarCraft 1 streams are.
Good point.
Hmm,
I actually
true.
see justification for like a few different platforms, like YouTube, because with GSL and like some other stuff that's going to be happening, like is going to be on YouTube for StarCraft esports, and I feel like there's a growing audience that's been coming up for StarCraft YouTube content. So if your stuff shows up as a recommended or suggestion, like to be entirely honest, I don't subscribe on YouTube to the GSL stream, but I just every single time I'm like, I'm pretty sure GSL is on soon. I go to my recommended videos, and that's how I find the GSL stream every single time.
That's how I
Like,
find
You
it.
don't
But-
subscribe to a freaking
we get
TV
great
esports?
We're getting great views
I
on
do not.
YouTube.
But it's
No,
different.
that's which is great. Yeah, but that's different. That's GSL.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
very
big tournament. That's
different.
a TV. That's
I
a TV
agree.
studio broadcast.
I
But
agree.
someone streaming their ladder or talk shows and that sort of thing, I think you're always, especially if it's StarCraft 2, because that's a good point about Brood War. Brood War definitely has a lot more viewership on Afrika, but StarCraft 2 has a lot more viewership on Twitch, at least live viewership. Obviously, there's YouTube people that only watch YouTube VODs that only do that, but live viewership, Twitch is where it's at
So
usually.
here's the catch on this is that they aren't asking, should I only stream on YouTube? Should I only stream with all these other platforms and like only that platform? Because this is something we also should clarify for the first part of this question. None of us stream on multiple platforms simultaneously because all of us are Twitch partners and all of us have a part of our contract that says you cannot stream on multiple platforms at the same time with the same
Also true.
content. That's like in our contracts as partners. If you
And
are
Twitch
not
is
a
good.
partner, you can do that. I will say OBS doesn't let you do that, I think, but XSplit does if you are interested, but you have to purchase an XSplit license, which gets into a whole other thing. But if you had the choice of streaming on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook gaming, I don't know. Like I could see justification for that.
So the reason I would say still no, but I'm willing to be wrong in this one, is that you would have to then almost foster 3 different communities. Like you could talk to all of them, I guess. You could have all 3 chats open and be talking to them, but they wouldn't be chatting with anyone else, right? So you go to Facebook gaming, you see one person chatting, you're like, this is lame. You go to Twitch, you see one person chatting, this is lame. Like the whole idea is you eventually get enough people, because I'm also assuming that you're not a very big streamer, I could be wrong. But that you would eventually get to a community, and getting a community when you have 3 different 2 or 3 or whatever many avenues is going to be very difficult to do. I don't think you're actually gaining more than you're losing.
Yeah. On that note, I'm going to say one more thing for Twitch is that if you are a newer streamer, which we're assuming you are, one of the strongest things you can do for your channel is actually just ask politely and not in a weird way, and don't be pushy about it, someone that is a bigger streamer to host you sometime. And then if you get that host, you actually have a crowd for at least as long as they want to stick around. And if you retain a bunch of those people, you might have some new fans, you might have some more regulars. So that's one of the more powerful things about Twitch that I think isn't available on YouTube or Facebook gaming. You can obviously shout out YouTube channels, you can shout out stream links in Facebook or whatever. That Mixer is not around anymore, so that doesn't count. But on Twitch, you have the raid and the host tool, and a lot of the bigger streamers, even me as like a guy that usually gets 100, 150 viewers on average, I will be more than happy to host someone that I don't normally host if they ask. So
Counterpoint, which is going to make
great.
me look a little bit worse. But I have like issues with my parents and authority. So when someone tells me to or asks me to host them, the last thing I want to do is host them. But like, I'll happily host and raid people that
then ask people that aren't FearDragon.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Right.
I do want to throw one thing out here for the question as well. You don't necessarily have to do it through your streaming client. You can use restream.io. I know that's what a lot of there's like the non-partnered Korean Brood War streamers. A lot of them do YouTube in Africa, and some of them do Twitch Africa. But you can use restream.io, and it will make it a lot easier on your PC to make that work out. And I've heard that it works pretty well.
Good deal.
Yeah, there you go. All right, thank you for the question, Evo. Hope that helps. Blackfost asks, my teammate Nico would like to know if you would rather redesign a unit or develop a new unit and exchange it with an existing unit for every race to keep the balance. He really would like to see new mechanics and new strategies that will come with such redesigns and exchanges. Thank you very much. Do you prefer to change shit up or make something new, replace something old?
Any of these questions, I always am so uncreative and unoriginal, despite trying to be an artist, that I'm just like,
Same.
well, they're never going to make a new unit, so I guess they're going to redesign one. That's what I'm going with.
Redesign, but hold on. We take the Nidus Swarm, right? Right now, the Nidus Swarm is like, here's your units, and you can move them somewhere else. What if you turn that around? You're like, okay, Nidus Swarm, I'm going to take my opponent's units and move them somewhere else. So you build the head somewhere.
Sounds like
and then when you Nidus, it yoinks the people around it and moves them over to the head.
So you're basically making Vortex for Zerg.
But instead of making them invulnerable for a little bit and then coming out in Archon Toilet, you teleport them to your main base.
Where you Psystorm them to death. Excellent.
Yeah. You got to use it effectively. There's a counterplay.
All right. I mean, I would like to see a new unit. Some of the units that they didn't end up releasing, I thought were really cool. Like the Herc, I always bring up. I thought the Herc was a great idea. That would have been really fun. And I don't like the Cyclone very much.
Yeah, redesign a Cyclone.
I do think the Cyclone's always been a bit of a weird unit. I never seemed sure what to do with it.
Ugly.
Right now.
I wouldn't
maybe
mind a
it's also
model
like-
redesign.
I hate yes/no units where it's just like
Mm.
you lock on and you're out of range, and it's like, wow, look at that. Are we? Should we clap that you're locked on and out of range? Like what is this? It's just I don't know. It's not very micro. It's like you lock on and then you run away from the unit. Like if it's chasing you and if it's running
That
from you, you
sounds
run from the unit.
fine.
It's like, what the fuck? It's terrible. I hate this unit. I think
It's a
so
different way to micro. You actually do have to think about the range, the high ground vision. Warp Prism micro against Cyclones is actually fairly fine. Like I don't think it's a yes/no unit.
If I didn't know that you were a Terran player already, I'd know right now. You know that?
Are you saying this because you're a Protoss player in StarCraft too? Like, wait, what is it? What does it affect?
I don't like the unit.
What are you talking about?
All right.
This doesn't have StarCraft 2 installed.
Right. And on that note, the Phoenix is fucking stupid.
Uh,
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that Cyclone is a great unit.
But when someone has Mutas flying away and you just right click and you chase them, I'm like, do we need to do this? The BC
All right,
is
that's not a very fun dynamic. Yeah.
the BC, like the fact that you appear on the drone line and then just fucking right click and it kills everything on its way out. I'm like, what? What?
Battle Cruiser's perfect. It's fine.
I was gonna say the Battle Cruiser has never been more interesting than it is right now. As much as it kills a lot of people, it is
That's
actually
true.
the most interesting it's ever been.
Yeah.
It is the most interesting. That's true. Okay. All right.
I don't know, man. I'm also really boring. I actually just like the game the way it is. Honestly, there are a few units that I maybe could behave differently, but I think doing things like introducing shield battery overcharge or something similar to try and fix up some matchups would be a cool way to go forward. But as far as units go, I like the units for the most part.
All right. Thanks for the question. I hope that answers it somewhat, Black Faust. Kilo asks, who has the better French fries, Burger King or McDonald's?
I don't like French fries.
Or Hungry
In-N-Out?
Jack's, Maynard.
There it
Hungry
is.
Jack. No, it's okay. It's okay. I am traveled enough to know that Hungry Jack's and Burger King are very similar. Okay. As someone that does love French fries, I'm going to say that the Burger King ones are better. Or at least Hungry Jack's in Australia, the fry is actually a thick cut fry. It's not that thin ball of like noodly starch that the McDonald's fries usually are. They're actually like thick, proper chips that are dusted in, I think, a tastier salt. At least the last time I had one. It's been a long time. I don't really have McDonald's or Burger King very often. Or Hungry Jack's.
Okay. There we have it. STFU Carl asks, if you were to create an RTS where sentient foods battled for domination of the dining table, which races / factions would you include? La Pasta versus BBQ versus pizza. What are some of the units and abilities each race would have? Much love from sunny South Africa. 5SD, 5SD, 5SD. All right, so Ascension Food RTS. I would have the zombie race, which would just be foods that were killed and served like that. So it would be like a lobster. That's like it's a zombie lobster, right? It would have like a fish, and it's a zombie fish. One of those pigs that has the apple in his mouth. That's all food, bro. That stuff would win. That would be the strongest.
I know.
What's the pig with its apple in its mouth going to do to another unit though? Like, what is it?
Ascension hot dog? Well, it's going to be a fucking cannibal. It's going to spit the apple out first, right? And that does splash damage, by the way. You only get one of them though. And
I'm going to be honest. As soon as this question started, my eyes and whatever the equivalent of my ears glazed over.
Your ears glazed over.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah. Like my eyes and my ears, whatever the equivalent is to my ears, they both glazed over, and I tuned out completely.
No problem.
So I have no response.
All right. Sounds good.
Questions.
And there you have it. I've solved the genre.
Thank you,
you.
Artosis.
Thank you, Carl. Yes. Team America asks, how do you keep up to date with StarCraft 2 meta and insights into what different pros like to do? For example, last PvT you mentioned 3-gate blink is Expo versus 4-gate. Do you research players or talk to pros or other casters, or is it all memory from previous casts? For me personally, I don't talk to pros or other casters about it too much. I just watch a lot of games, and some things are pretty straightforward. Like if 3-gate blink can afford a Nexus, 4-gate blink cannot. So it's like, yeah, that's expansion versus aggression, right? Like the reason you get the 4th gate is to try to do damage. So, but yeah, I get most of my stuff from watching lots of StarCraft too.
I would say I intermittently do all those things, but more often than not, it is memory of previous casts. It's experiencing it firsthand and then retaining that information for future broadcasts. But if I have a co-caster and they tell me something that's like a while commentating, they teach me something, then yes, I'll pick that up. Or maybe in a green room and talking to someone about meta, and they tell me something, I'll learn that and lock that away in my memory bank. And every now and then I do the same with pros. So it's very, very intermittent though. More so the last thing.
Yeah, same for me. And with like an addition of sometimes talking to pros and asking them like random questions, and then also a lot of players stream. So that's also a good source of information.
Back when I was first getting into StarCraft, I would say that most of the stuff I learned is from watching streams. But now with all the casting, basically since like 2013, definitely like 80% memory, 15% talking to other casters, learning from other casters, and like 5% actually asking pros.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Team America. Hope that answers your question. Broodwiser asks, who's the prettiest Disney princess / handsomest prince?
I love that in Discord this was reacted by Gaston.
Yes.
Like GASTON on Discord.
That's amazing. That is
where I'm reading the questions.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right, it's Uppetry Zelda because he was the prince for Princess Jiggle-Nutty of the Jiggle-Nutty Palace.
Damn.
That's not a Disney princess, I'm pretty sure.
That's just a prince and a princess. That's not Disney.
They're
That's
working on the
saying
movie.
Princess Mary,
okay?
and it's like, okay, she's a real person. It's not Disney.
They're working on the movie.
Are they though?
They're not though.
All right.
Prove me wrong.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Prettiest Disney princess / handsomest prince is a tough question because we're essentially saying that a cartoon is hot.
Instead of answering which is the prettiest princess / handsomest prince, I will give you a little story at DreamHack Montreal a few years ago. The Gaston song. I forget who started this. Do you remember this, Maynard?
I remember that. I remember it being turned into a tasteless song.
It turned into a song, and we were literally all singing it through the streets while walking to the hotel.
I remember. No one cast like Taston.
No one cast like Taston. And it was like, we had like a lot of it. We had a lot of it written out, like not written out, but we had verses and shit, and it was. There's just something really funny about Tasteless likes songs and shit to be rewritten about him, and like. It's so it might not sound that funny, but it's like like when we were casting Heroes of the Storm, he changed the names of all the heroes to shit having to do with tasteless, and it was like ETC he called like E-tasteless C because it's like ETC tasteless. I don't know. And Zeratul is Zerataste. It's just like this shit's so funny, guys. It makes me cry thinking about it. It's so funny.
Okay, I have an answer for Disney Princess. It was an old meme, but still checks out. Disney bought the production or the label for the people that actually produced the Alien series, and the aliens have a queen, so technically they have princesses, and that means to me the alien is the hottest Disney princess. Literally has acid for blood.
People say that, but I'm pretty sure there's no princess of a bee colony.
There is.
Am I wrong? Is
technically?
There?
Yeah. Technically.
Really?
A bunch of princes and princes. They are the offspring of a queen.
But hold on, they would all be like princes, right?
Because wouldn't like every bee be a prince then?
Yes, I guess so.
Wouldn't by that logic,
right.
if all of Disney is open, wouldn't Captain Marvel be the hottest because she's literally the degree and temperature of a sun or a star?
If she was the degree and temperature of the sun or a star, then everyone around her in every scene would have disintegrated.
That's how powerful she is. She
No,
can
that's
control
not. That's not true because Pop-Tarts. Yeah.
it.
I never
All
disintegrated around a
those-
Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
And once you're done fucking toasting a Pop-Tart, that shit in the center is hotter than the sun. So
that fucking got me. I knew exactly what you were talking about when you said
Yeah,
that.
no. You guys know, you biting that shit, your lips are burned, bro. That's
I've
it.
never
remember
done that to
going
a
to-
toaster
I
pastry.
remember going to school once talking like this, like that, because I burned my mouth that morning on my Pop-Tart.
Serious
That
business.
was in high school too, so I was like 13 or 14, and I should have known better. Shit, man.
So good.
That was a rough day.
All right. Excellent. Thank you for the question, Broodweiser. I know we didn't really answer it that well. Shampoo McTavish asks, in StarCraft, we often get stale metas dominated by a few strong builds. Broodlord Infestor, Gleneptolins. In StarCraft Brood War, this gets solved by players figuring out new things, whereas in StarCraft 2, it gets solved by patching.
I disagree with that.
The game actually being broken, or would it get figured out given enough time?
I disagree that it's solved by patching, because a lot of the times, like things you talk about, like Phoenix Adept or that sort of thing. I mean, obviously there are some really broken things. Broodlord Infestor did need help, but there are a lot of times when there's a meta that's very annoying that people have figured out how to stop. Like the Glade Adept thing, yeah, it's annoying, but a lot of the professional Zergs are getting really good at handling it. And the Phoenix Adept thing, it felt like Terran was actually starting to handle that as well before it got patched. I think given time, I actually have a lot of faith.
The Phoenix Adept one actually got solved before the patch game.
Yeah, no, you're right. And there's been a few occasions of that, and I'm just like bringing up the Adept printer build right now, which everyone feels like is a free win for Protoss, but it's really not. It's the Zergs are actually figuring out, at a certain time I just don't go over 40 drones. I get a Roach Warren at a certain time, and or you can just mass a lot of lings, which some Zergs are doing as well, like make way more lings than you'd normally. And yeah, you're down in drones, but yeah, you come back because you kill the Adepts. But anyway, so my point is, I think that I have a lot of faith in people to figure out stuff. But there have been a few occasions where the game needed help, just like StarCraft 1, you needed help against the Mutalisk, and they did that by bringing out Brood War.
I mean, that's a harsh comparison.
I mean, it's a very old comparison, and it's the only comparison I can think of because I haven't patched the game in a really long time. But the Mutalisk was extremely broken in the vanilla StarCraft 1.
Yeah, I know, but it was like 6
it's
months
pretty
later they brought out Brood War, and they haven't touched it
Yeah.
for 20 years.
And it was Broodlord Infestor was a thing for.
So
Hmm.
I was shaking my
90s?
head because I found the Broodlord Infestor and then Gladept all in, like they just didn't. They didn't. I don't think it wasn't a comma. You know what I mean? Like Broodlord Infestor was its own little thing that could be ranted about for the rest of StarCraft 2 history. But then also, Brood War doesn't just get solved by players figuring out new things. I mean, I'm not that into Brood War, but my understanding is that maps really change things up. Which for a long time in StarCraft 2, we had very stale map pools, which didn't contribute it wasn't helpful towards a lot of the stale, the Broodlord Infestor, basically. Like, there's definitely a world where StarCraft 2 just was, like, completely abandoned. And Broodlord Infestor was, like, up to the players and also up to the map makers to actually do something about it, and they would have done it. So, I mean, I get your point. You're saying that they might be patching, they do patch StarCraft 2 and they don't patch Brood War. Like, I do get that, but I think it's more complicated than that.
Yes, I have issues with people saying something like it's a fact. Like in StarCraft, in StarCraft 2, this is fixed with patches. I think is an incorrect statement. I think in my opinion, it is fixed by patches is more accurate to say. That's the only thing I really have a problem with, because I obviously have a different opinion on that.
Okay.
I think maps matter a lot as well.
It's all pretty fair, I think, too. I would say that there's a hint of truth to what's being said here, for sure. But yeah, things get solved. Like, I've argued against the speed of patching and always been a fan of the very small patches. Like, I thought David Kim was good. He became a meme and people were talking shit, but it's like, if you look at a bunch of the patches he made, they were actually really smart, where it's like, yeah, this is how we're going to slowly shape it going forward. and we have enough patches. I think it doesn't slow down enough for it to get to evolve the same way Brood War does. Where in Brood War we just know it's not going to change, so it's like you can complain as much as you fucking want, but figure it out because that's what you got. That and maps. But yeah, it's definitely we do get into positions sometimes in StarCraft, like you guys were saying, where it's like, well, nothing actually beats this, like, oh, this is the best thing you can do right now. The Infestor's pretty strong, and then it does need some patches too. But yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms with the strength of certain things and hard counters and whatnot. I think. Thank you for the question, Shampoo McTavish. All right, next, Fridge Raider asks, before my question, shout out to Starlights with those awesome SC2 edits on YouTube, and thanks FD64 for shouting them out on Twitter. Wouldn't have ever known if not for that. I don't know what that's talking about, but there you go.
I do. I shouted them out actually the other day as well. No one asked me to. I remember coming across it and going, wow, this is nice. I like this.
Cool. Oh, I'm going to have to check that out. Just last week, Parting entertained viewers with a hilarious cooking stream. So who cooks the best in the community?
I mean, I'm all right at cooking, but I like don't broadcast it, and I don't do it anywhere except for my house.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good cook.
It depends on who you count as the community, because I know some like community fan members who are literally chefs for a living.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously going to be the best. And there's a guy called the Chef Show who keeps putting like pictures of actual legit stuff in there.
He's actually
Discord.
streamed a little bit of that. There's like another guy named Milk and Cookies who watches a lot of StarCraft, who also is literally like a professional chef. I know actually TLO and Whiff actually are pretty good cooks also. They do a lot. But like not professional chefs or anything, but yeah.
I don't know. How was my cooking, ZG? Did you like it?
It was very good.
There you go. I have one review.
When I make eggs for my wife, she like tastes them and she's like, "Did you put salt in this?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "You should put salt in this."
I'm not glowing review.
Normally, no. All right, there you go. Hope that answers your question. Okay. Polly asks, first, loved that Bronze Girl was a guest of the show. Love her very much. Thank you. She was great.
Me too. That was a good episode.
I read in the comments of the last episode that a few don't want those topics on their StarCraft podcast. Not me. It is sadly necessary. What kind of topics would you refuse to talk about on it and think has no place here? So I guess well, this is a StarCraft news show, right? And that is definitely news that has to do with StarCraft. The Me Too movement, it hit upon StarCraft and esports in general. So it's like literally my duty as the host and the duty of the show to address such a thing. Things that don't really belong on it. Like, I'm not interested in talking about like political stuff unless it, if it affects StarCraft, then sure. Like if there's some sort of link there where a certain party's trying to ban StarCraft or something, maybe that's something that we can talk about. Sure, but
when we brought up the Hong Kong thing when it mattered to StarCraft, like when it started to become a bit of a BlizzCon relevant thing as well with our finals and just Blizzard's the developer.
Yeah, it has to do with StarCraft. That's the thing. That's what the Pylon show is. This is a show about StarCraft in general. Like anything that touches upon it, I'm willing to talk about, and things that don't really have a place here. And yeah, that's my opinion, and I guess I'm in charge of that. So there you go. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
There's the facts right there. Thanks for the question, and thanks for appreciating that show. All right, Justin Goodrich asks, how much do you think this Korean StarCraft 2 scene suffered from so many pros returning to Brood War? In other words, how much more competitive would the Koreans be if top Brood War players such as Flash, Rain, and Sulky kept playing StarCraft 2 all this time?
I don't agree with the term "so many." It's not like SC2 lost 70 or even 60 or even 50% of their player base at the top level to Brood War. It was more like 4 people.
Yeah, it wasn't that many. It really wasn't.
Yeah, it's like Rain, Sulky, and Flash
Well,
and Jadon.
to be fair,
Either
I
10,
guess
right?
more of them bled over that didn't really get news announcements, right? Like Saxory, for instance, is back. Like
Mhm.
there were a few more than what you're saying, basically. But yeah, it's not a huge
I
amount.
mean, like at the very top, you know, the Flash, the Jadongs, the Rain, and Sulky to a lesser extent, like those guys were at the top. I feel.
Yeah.
I have one thought which could be totally wrong, and Dan, you'd probably have a better sense of this than I do. But like, I think that there was like this period of time where a lot of people were like GSL Code A, and they're kind of saying like, oh, there just aren't enough people. And I do wonder, I feel like we were like on that precipice of Code S players, like enough Code S players that you're kind of like, oh, and there were a bunch of players that didn't qualify. That if there were like 10 more or something, which I feel like is roughly how many of the notable Brood or players went back to Brood War, maybe a few more than that. Like, I do wonder if that would have changed some of the decision making there or something. That's like the most extreme example I can think of though, and it's still hypothetical.
Yeah.
My answer is I don't think it was affected that much. Yeah.
I get the feeling it didn't really affect it that much. And
Mhm.
the thing is, I know it helped the shit out of Brood War to get those big names back. That was like the most important thing. And now Brood War is actually really thriving and doing it great out here. So I'm very happy that happened to have both of them sustained at this point.
Didn't it more so happen the other way around at the beginning of StarCraft 2, or a lot of people from Brood War just switched to StarCraft 2?
Yeah. But I'm saying like when
room.
Flash, Shadong, Stork all came back to Brood War, that was really big for the Brood War.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That was
Yeah,
really
for
big.
sure.
Very important moment. That like super revived everything. And now it feels like even though they're starting to go to the military, like Jadong just went, it's not really making a dent. Like everyone's kind of, it's built itself upon these guys, I think. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm with you. I obviously want both games to thrive.
yeah,
So that's great.
yeah. I don't think it affected it that much. It was cool though, I have to say. I got warm fuzzies when Fantasy decided to play StarCraft 2 instead of StarCraft 1. Because he would have made more money as a streamer playing StarCraft 1 than he would have playing StarCraft 2 professionally, I think, looking back at it.
There were a lot of angry people that seem to be upset about the Fantasy playing in StarCraft 2 thing. I remember that in particular being a Brood War scene, getting very upset.
Well, he was the second Terran to Flash, you know? So he was kind of the guy. But I loved him coming over to Brood War. I mean, StarCraft 2. That was great. To have it go the other way, finally. All right. Thanks for your question. Hyper Turtle asks, build 2 spawning pools. That way, when you reach Hive, you can research metabolic boosts and adrenal glands simultaneously. You're welcome. Now, can you give me some advice that is equally next level?
Woo!
Build 2 Ghost Academies so you can get Cloak and also the enhanced Shockwave at the same time, because the Ghost Academy is only 50 gas and it builds really quickly.
Hey, but that's actually much better than what he said. Get 2 Dark Shrines, one in your main to upgrade Shadow Strike with, and the other one is the one that's hidden because they're going to find it and kill it anyways.
I like it.
There you go. All right. Hope that helps you. Yeah, go ahead.
I have an entire document of these, so I could go on. To give you an example, just I'll read like 2 of them or 3 of them. Okay. No, that's not even that good of a one. As Zerg, research an early burrow, but never show it. Just burrow drones at their third base, and anytime they scout, make them think you're all-inning, not droning. Another one is, God. Send your DTs to the corner of a Terran's base and hold position where they won't attack. Then wait until they mule and then run in. Hallucinate a wall of probes in front of your army and hold position them because they'll have the lowest attack priority versus like charge lots, Zerglings, Banelings, and Disruptors.
I think the force fields would maybe be better there, but I get you. Actually, I said this last night with Tasteless, and it was like half joke but half real. Do the proxy 2 racks, but send out 4 SCVs, because you know the proxy 4 racks is doable. So you make 2 in one location, 2 in another, let them scout one, cancel them, and kill them with the other 2.
Ooh.
Someone's going to use that. I'm sorry to the Zerg player who dies to that shit, but it's gotta happen. All right. Thank you for the question. Okay. Some drunk Canadian asks. We have just a wow. We actually have so many questions this week. Sorry, guys. Thank you for everyone asking the questions, though. Some drunk Canadian asks: 1, what is the dumbest things you did / say while casting a match? 2, who wins in 1v1 street fight? A sentient poutine with bacon bits or a sentient Nathan's hot dog that didn't get eaten by the 4th of July eating hot dog contest? Sending much love from the land of Ryan Reynolds and Seth Rogen. All right. 1v1 street fight. The poutine is like slop, so it would lose. As far as the dumbest things you did or say while casting a match. I know you guys are all brilliant casters.
Yeah, I've never made a mistake in my life. Perfect.
Yeah, little perfection.
I immediately know what mine was.
Yeah.
Jeff baited me into saying deep throating on the broadcast and just the tip. And I wasn't aware of either of them.
Yep. Later on, he learned what a blue waffle was.
Also that, yeah. There was
And
another
what
one
railroading meant, and why you shouldn't say it in broadcast.
There was another one which
yeah.
Jeff baited me into saying multiple times and literally have like a 45-second conversation about, which is the term tucking, which I've never heard of, but yeah.
We also, contaminated FearDragon's mind with talk about, peanut butter and licking and.
Okay, that was some grade A bullshit. All right, that was I just don't even agree with that conversation still to this day.
Do you have a clean bed now,
FearDragon is so
FearDragon?
pure.
Or is it a
It's so pure.
dirty bed?
Look, if I'm in a hotel room and my bed is feeling really, really stuffy, and there's a clean bed next to me and a cold bed, I will transition over in the middle of the night when I wake up because it's more comfortable. All right.
Away from your dirty bed. I get you.
Okay, you know what? Whatever. What are your guys' big mistakes?
Blue
I actually
waffle
don't-
is a fictional STD? What?
Don't ask her to explain this. You will have to add like an NC-17 rating on your YouTube video.
We just need to move on from this one. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
All right.
Yep.
I don't know what I just walked into here. Okay. What did you
worry about
guys ever say on a cast that was bad? For me, I apparently looked up something that you guys mentioned that I didn't know.
And that was pretty dumb. Googling blue
Right
waffle
now.
while in a broadcast is pretty dumb. I mean, there's just been so many times where I fucked up in a broadcast, and I'd usually just shut it out and flush it in my brain toilet, so I never think about it ever again, because otherwise it demotivates me and makes me upset.
Yeah.
So I actually can't recall any particular moments, but there have been moments where I've just been like, stupid, right after a broadcast.
There's
It's
a
definitely happened.
Friends episode where like Monica and Rachel find something secret about Chandler, and the way that he says like that never happened. That's actually what I've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. All right, never think about it again.
Yeah. And scene. Okay.
I think in
I
general, just in general, just not realizing that something is happening and getting cut off with something else has always been a feels bad moment. So.
Yeah. I think I generally just forget afterwards. I say plenty of stupid shit, get things wrong, and say things that are dumb or, make mistakes. Like, remember things that happened incorrectly. It happens to everyone. But I can't actually think of one off the top of my head, to be honest. I could probably make one up and it would be real at this point because I've said so many stupid things over the years.
We've cussed a few times.
Yeah. All right. FearDragon asks, "Hi, is this a place where I ask wet Fartosis questions? Question for wet Fartosis: how did you get your name? I heard you got it from Princess Jigglernutty and of the Jigglernutty Palace. Thanks, guy who has StarCraft 2 installed. Thank you for the memes, FearDragon."
That's a great question, Dan. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't remember who made that up. I think it was like a question on GOM TV or something like that. Right? Like way back in the day. I think it must have been one of those IDs. All right.
I think was it I have to wet Fartosis or something? It was like a name like that.
It sounds familiar. Probably.
Yeah, obviously, Poop Feast 420 is obviously going down in legend, but
Well,
some of the others got missed.
Yeah. All right, thank you, FearDragon. Great usage of your question this week. Edensorg asks, true facts. First player announced for Team Rotti is Spanish. Rotti once said that should 100 Spanish players arise that are better than him in skills, he would offer them adult physical act of love. Is Team Rotti a cover-up to recruit a bunch of Spanish players so Rotti can achieve a lifelong dream?
Let's just say yes.
Yeah, totally. You got to the bottom of it, my dude. All right. Thank you for the question. Congrats to Rotti on his team. That's cool. All right. Neo Steel Enthusiast asks, the implication of a hot dog being pureed meat in animal casing intestine is that a hot dog doesn't stop being a hot dog even after we eat it. By that conclusion, we as the hot dog's casing became hot dogs ourselves when we eat hot dogs. Thoughts?
It's a shower thoughts thread on Reddit. I'm on to you, Neo Steel Enthusiast.
This is like the whole thing where we're like all composed of the atoms from stars, so we're stars ourselves. So I'm like, okay. In that case, I guess I'm still a dinosaur.
It reminds me of this rabbit hole that I read where it's like, okay, so a sandwich is like stuff in between bread, right? So it's like, is a hot dog a sandwich? And it's like, well, I guess that would be a sandwich, but then it goes down, if you keep going forever, you know, soup in a bread bowl, that's a fucking sandwich.
What?
Soup in a bread bowl is a sandwich.
It is.
It is
Remember
a
the
sandwich.
It is.
That is a type of sandwich.
Yeah.
Take the soup in the bread bowl. They're like, excuse me, sir, do you mean the sandwich?
Are you saying that onigiri, like the rice triangles, are also sandwiches? Like
That's not bread.
Bread, dude.
Oh, sorry,
Like,
sorry. Yeah.
Between two pieces of bread, yeah, that's a sandwich.
Okay.
Honestly, FearDragon, how did you get this so wrong?
I feel like we've spent 6 minutes on this
I
question.
have had
and
a
it's
lot of
too many.
alcohol tonight.
All right, there you go. Bread bowls and sandwich. Thank you for the question. Sergeant Beleno asks, why do you think Brood War was the RTS that first took off in South Korea when comparing it to other RTS, other competitive games of the time? I feel in hindsight, it's clear how fantastic the game is. But when the esports scene was just beginning to bloom in South Korea and Brood War was fresh, why was it the game that excelled? I got asked this a lot back in the day in interviews and stuff. It has to do a lot with just the timing, the time that PC bongs were growing. This was a popular new game that was out here. The game is great, obviously. Can you imagine people trying to play Command and Conquer on TV like that? Like the way the units control.
Holy fuck, what a broken ass game. Jesus Christ.
StarCraft happens to be a game that's just like perfect and was there at the same time. So it's like a perfect storm kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the company that was the best at making RTSs released an RTS right when esports was ready to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for the question. Aaron asks, the staggered group / broadcasts make the hype hard to build for me. What about this? Week 1 is exclusively Summer Europe Championship, where the EU champ is crowned. Then week 2 is NA champ is crowned. At the end, every regional champ plus the KR gods enter the Summer World Finals. We have chills.
Not a question, but yes.
Yeah.
What about this?
We kind of went over that a little bit.
He's actually suggesting something.
Yeah, well, doing one each week instead of mixing them, basically.
Yeah, we brought
There
that up.
wasn't a question mark, so we don't have to answer it.
Is it good or bad? It might be good.
I'd like to try it.
Oh, I think it's a good idea. All right. Thanks for the question. We agree with you. Pulse Reaction asks, FearDragon, dude, can you please organize a Senior StarCraft League with 40-plus-year-olds with families and stable jobs? I think it would be interesting to see what skills that demographic has. I love all you beautiful people.
So I tried organizing this, and I was gonna like invite Dan. I was gonna invite Maynard and stuff, but what ended I ran into a logistical issue.
Two
so,
people
like,
that aren't 40, but yeah, go on.
Similar to the DreamHack stuff,
people
where it's
goes.
like we were afraid that players are gonna not be able to play for like more than like 6-7 hours at a time. I was afraid that both Maynard and Artosis would have to require like a diaper change between games, and it became a logistical nightmare to try and manage a series like that.
If
So
I had
kind
a
of
diaper
abandoned it.
right now, if I had a diaper it would be full because of you on this podcast, and I would throw it at you.
I have an alternative.
Why?
all
Because
right?
you're so full of shit. Come at me.
Shut the fuck up. I like how this guy is asking FearDragon specifically because he knows that FearDragon has like a full-time job, so he must be like appealing to the adults. He must be getting to be more of an adult than anyone else in the StarCraft community scene. And I'm like, FearDragon's the adult. FearDragon, we the one organizing this.
Wow! You want to fight me? You want to fight me? You want to get a pissing contest?
What did
right
you eat
now?
for dinner today, FearDragon?
A pissing
What did you
contest?
eat
I
for dinner?
had beer
I think
and,
that's the wrong
and
finger.
pita chips.
And a slice of vegan cheese.
I had 3 slices of vegan cheese.
All right.
Thanks for the question.
It's like, why did I have these people on?
All right, we got about 2 more questions here. Alessandro, our very own maker of the notes, says, any thoughts on region lock now that we haven't had it for half a year? Well, I would say it's still
It's still region one.
Yeah, what do you
I
mean?
mean, I didn't see any Koreans play in the European playoffs for DreamHack Summer.
Well, I guess the only events we've had, GSL's open and Katowice's open. Those are like the big events, but now we're kind of into region locked territory, even though the thing that feels like the finals isn't region locked.
Mm-hmm. But the events leading up to it are. Yeah, anyway.
That being said, I think in future years, we actually should look at getting rid of region lock and letting the Koreans travel again when travel comes back.
I think maybe a little bit more time. I think that the conversation can definitely be had, but I think it's still like Korea still has a group of 16 plus players that could destroy a lot of people.
To me,
I agree, but the Cyril was the world champ. A lot of the top non-Koreans are really, really good, and also the European Zergs all talk shit on the Zergs, so we should let the Korean Zergs at least loose.
I agree with all those things. I just feel like it's not quite there yet to allow all the generic boys to use their bankroll to send a bunch of people overseas to start winning everything.
in my ideal world, like regional lock doesn't mean that there are not international events. It just means that there are also sanctioned areas where you can kind of determine here's the best player from North America, here's the best player from Australia and stuff. Doesn't mean that we don't have big events that are international and stuff. So I don't know. I like the way it is right now.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the question, Alessandro. We also have a question from Body V. Are Pop-Tarts sandwiches or pies? Ooh,
They're
it's a pie.
raviolis.
They're raviolis? They might be, actually. But does that mean all pies are raviolis? Or are raviolis pie?
It is okay. I'm gonna go with pie because a sandwich makes very little sense, being the fact that it's not bread, it's pastry, which is different, right? Pop-Tart is actually a pastry.
That's ravioli, right? It's not bread.
Bread?
Yeah, so they're not. Pop-Tarts are not sandwiches, but they are either pies or raviolis. And we have to now reclassify pies or raviolis as being the other one.
You guys have such weird definitions of this stuff. Like, what would you consider a jelly-filled donut? Is that a sandwich? Like, come on, like, that's not a sandwich.
No, that's a pie.
It's so
actually.
dope. So yeah, it's a pie.
Definition of pie. Okay, pie. Now, a dish of fruit or meat and vegetables, typically a base of pastry.
That's what I said. Pastry is the operative word here, and Pop-Tarts are pastry, so it is a pie.
So
it's
it's
a
a
pie.
pastry, just a sweet ravioli.
It's not though. There is a big difference in ingredients between what makes up a ravioli and what
sweet
makes up a
ravioli.
pastry.
It turns out
You know,
raviolis are pies. I'm pretty sure.
when I get an
ravioli.
ice cream cake, it doesn't have to have cake in it.
So donuts are pies. And Pop-Tarts are pies. You're having a little pie for breakfast.
Dough is also different than pastry.
Yeah, dough is different from pastry, but what are we? A donut is a pastry. Just because it's called a dough nut, there's no nut there either, right? I mean, it's just a name.
That is true.
All right.
Nice.
We
Thanks for
solved
the
it.
question, Body V.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I hope we enlightened you.
All right, we got one more. from Cobra Venom himself. Is a hot dog in a bun just a taco? No, it's a sandwich. We went over this. That's bread.
Is
Stop
it taco
being stupid, dude. Come on.
sandwich?
What are you even listening? You had that question right at the end. You had all the time to make that question.
Yeah, it's not bread. So
What if it's a corn tortilla?
It's still not bread.
That's still not bread. That's a tortilla. That's different.
Oh, sorry, not a corn
tortilla. Is meant to be like a corn base anyway. Like the bread.
Well, it's corn and flour. So.
I meant the flour tortilla.
Yeah, wait, a flour tortilla. Why isn't that bread? What's the difference? I don't make enough bread or tortillas.
You know what?
Can we stop unraveling our worlds?
Flour tortilla is a lot closer to bread than it is to a pastry, not pie. That's for sure.
The English language is doomed. All right, that
specifically we're the ones that are dooming it right now. We give very little hope for the future of the English language over here.
Very little. All right, that does it, guys. Try to make it fast. It didn't work. Sorry. Thanks for coming on after such a long day. A big thanks to our Patreon supporters, everyone. We really thank you guys. And thanks to our $100 tier, of course, Shane, Jerry Wang, VDEC, Astrofin, Manard, and Blinker. Appreciate you guys. And of course, everyone who has helped out the Pylon show. Yeah, let's just wrap it up. Maynard, where can people find more of you? What do you want them to know or see or do or whatever?
You guys can do whatever you like. And if you feel like you want to check out more of my stuff, it's at Twitch TV Maynard. And I tweet when I'm live at Maynard SC2, but I use Twitter very sparingly. I use Twitch more often. So check me out there.
Cool. Zombie Grub, how about you?
Follow me on Twitter, ZG Gaming, Twitch, and YouTube, both Zombie Grub. I'll be streaming right after this, literally right after, some D&D with other fine folk. Like
I need to order lunch.
And Maynard. What?
I need to order lunch, so I'm sorry I'm going to ruin your show by eating on it the whole time. I'm so hungry.
Great. Sounds great.
And FearDragon, what about you?
FearDragon64 on all random social media. D&D stuff in like right after this, and then I'm also casting DreamHack Masters for the next 2 days. I take vacation days, so go watch it.
Excellent. Yeah. All right. As for me, I don't know. Just follow my stream that you're looking at right now, or the YouTube if you're looking at there, or the podcast wherever the hell we have those. A big thanks to the Pylon team. I do not do this alone, that is for sure. Big thanks to you guys again for coming on after a long day, which still is not over. You guys are workaholics. You need to think about that next time you say
the only one who worked today.
All right, well, I guess some of you are lazy too. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week with the Pylon Show. We'll see you then.
Shout out to the Pylon Show, the greatest show on the internet.